Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Loudon, New Hampshire at the virtual New Hampshire International Speedway for round number 1 of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs. 12 drivers have made it into the playoffs for this cutoff knockout round from here. The round of 12 featuring 12 drivers, and it starts off here with a 181 lap race here at the virtual New Hampshire International Raceway. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Runs, joined in the booth tonight by Brett Rawls with Charles Production in the Charles Wooten in the production truck, excuse me. There you see our track facts: 78 degrees outside with 55% humidity, partly cloudy, and a slight 2-mile-per-hour wind. Going to be a fun one here. 181 laps at the 1 mile New Hampshire International Speedway there, Brett.
Yeah, it's looking like we're going to have a really good, interesting race, as there's a lot of guys really consistent and really close in lap times here as I'm looking through the practice timer. I definitely think we're going to see some pretty good heated side-by-side action here tonight.
Should be a fun one for sure. New Hampshire, of course, one of the racier tracks when it comes to the iRacing server. A lot of action happening on this 1 mile oval. A little bit flat, but there is some progressive banking here. Lots of different things can happen. And Brett, this is the opening round of the playoffs for 12 drivers. The time for play is out the window because for these 12 drivers in the playoffs, it is on and it is do or die from here on out.
Oh, absolutely. And with tonight being the first night of the playoffs, especially at a tricky track like New Hampshire, it provides so much good racing side-by-side wise because of how much you have to get off the throttle and really let that car just roll through the corner before you can actually get back on it coming down the straightaways. It's going to be interesting to see how many guys can keep the back end underneath these cars, as I see a lot of cars going around here in early practice laps.
Let's take a look at the 12 drivers that are in the playoffs. Number 1 seed, no surprise, is Shane Tyrion in the number 38, who has come on very strong over the last few weeks, getting a few wins on the season, looking strong once again. But of course, the guy who led the points in the regular season, Bronson Stafford, in second, with Robert Kenny getting in at Daytona. Trenton Jump in the 46 gets his spot in. Nick Massey, who started out the season not even full-time in the series, decided to join about a third of the way into the season and made the playoffs in his Kevin Harvick tribute, number 4. Sardaj Man hasn't broken through for the win yet, but has been very strong in the last 3 or 4 races. Watch for the number 49 to make a run. Braxton Deweese getting into the playoffs, along with Eric Stamp, Caleb Smith, Tom Bourne, Austin Gretorix, and Logan Brecky. Those are your 12 playoff drivers, much like the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, which also start off tonight at Darlington. Make sure as soon as this race is over, you head over and check them out. 3 races in this round, Brett, and any of the playoff drivers who win one of the next 3 races lock themselves into the round of 8.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these cars are going to be able to weave and, get in and out of traffic here at New Hampshire and getting onto pit road without, causing a huge stack up off of turn 4. And I think the thing that really speaks volumes as to the caliber drivers that we have here tonight is out of the 12 drivers that we have, 6 out of those 12 drivers, so half of these guys have already been through this playoff experience once before. The other half of this field is, really starting to get the whole feel for it for the first time, being in the playoffs and actually being able to race for the championship. So it's going to be pretty interesting to me to see if these first timers are able to actually keep their composure through this first round, not let them emotions get to them real quick, and especially with a very throttle control heavy track as New Hampshire, and see if maybe one of these first timers can pick off the opening round of the playoffs with a shock win there.
So half the field in their first playoff appearance as qualifying is underway here at New Hampshire New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We got cars on track for this qualifying session. You're looking at Tanner Johnson in the number 23 coming around. He's going to set the bar in his Alabama Crimson Tide ride here tonight. He sets the bar at a 29.656, 2/10 over Trenton Jump. Tanner Johnson, of course, president of the series. Haven't seen him behind the wheel in a few weeks, but back behind the wheel of his number 23 Toyota, and he's setting the bar 0.2 of a second up. And as I say that, Braxton Deweese, playoff driver, comes within 0.3 of a second. Now Shane Tyrion knocking them off. So as drivers pick off their first lap, Brett, talk about the importance of getting yourself a good qualifying lap here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, like I said, with this being a real throttle-heavy track and having to get up off the throttle, it almost makes passing really difficult here. You got to be able to get that car to work on the bottom and get it to turn, when you're trying to battle side by side if you're going to make that bottom work. And that requires a lot of lifting and a lot of patience. And in playoff racing, patience isn't really something that, a lot of people are too concerned with because, after all, you are racing for a championship and you have more than just 12 drivers that you're competing in the championship against out here on this track tonight.
Taking a look at Matt Dyer in the number 88, did not get a lap on his first qualifying lap as he scuffed the wall a little bit. And on the iRacing server, if you so much as tap that wall or skid just a little bit to the side, you are not able to get a lap in. Bronson Stafford to the top of the charts. He knocks Shane Tyrion off of the mark. Stafford and Tyrion both running G Fuel Toyotas. They were the two fastest cars in the regular season. Those two combined for the most wins on the season, as the final few drivers taking time. Matt Dyer did not get a lap on either lap, as the same thing happened. A couple of playoff drivers not yet taking to the track. One of them is on right now. That's Robert Kenny, Daytona winner, and Brett, he just pounded the wall up in turn number 3, so he's going to have to reset once again here. As you take a look, this is the number 6 also going around. That's Matthew Rodriguez going around in the 6.
And this just goes to show you, just how patient you do have to be on that throttle here at New Hampshire. The corners are very, very tight, but very, very large compared to most mile tracks, in my opinion. You're not able to throw it in there quite as hard as most mile tracks are. It's like I said, it's a very driver-patient track. As you see now, the 24 car of Broxton Packard, he's going to go around coming out of the corner as well. So keep an eye out for these drivers to be able to keep that throttle control under composure, and I guarantee you whoever is able to do that is going to be able to win this race tonight.
Just under a minute left, so it looks like no one else is going to be able to attempt a lap here, and we've just got a handful of drivers still circling the racetrack. It looks like Bronson Stafford is going to start the playoffs off with the pole position as we're in the closing seconds of qualifying. Shane Tyrion in the 38 was fastest in practice. He makes up the front row, so it's an all G Fuel front row here for the first round of the playoffs here, Brett, as looks like qualifying's just coming to an end here. And how big is it for Bronson Stafford to get that pole to start things off? 181 laps, it's a long way, but definitely having that track position at the start's going to be big.
Not only having the position at the start being, the very first car in line, but you also have your teammate to the outside of you as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if both of these playoff drivers, as well as being on the same team, or, if they work together for a little bit here in this early stage and try to break away from the rest of the pack, or if they're going to actually go for it, because they're really the only two that are, kind of close in times, the rest of the field kind of close, but they've pretty much separated themselves by qualifying efforts by about 2/10 now.
Qualifying is wrapped up. Drivers making their way to the grid. So, Brett, it's time to knock them down for 181 laps. Let's take them through the starting lineup. Let's go 10 at a time. On the pole, like we mentioned, will be Bronson Stafford in the number 61 with Shane Tyrion to his outside. G Fuel on board both those very fast Toyotas. It's an all front row for the Toyota brand. Tanner Johnson, league president, starts third in the number 23. Another Toyota with another Toyota to his outside. Braxton DeWeese in the 27. Top 4 all Toyotas. Jacob Grant in the Ford makes up an all Ford row 3 with Tyler Stooksbury to his outside. And you got Tom Bourne in the 54. Austin Gretorix in the number 13 will be the highest starting Chevrolet in 8th position. Dylan Browning and Logan Brecky round out the top 10.
Inside row number 6 is going to be the BBS number 46 of Trenton Jump. To his outside is going to be the Ally number 24 car of Brockton Packard. Inside row number 7 is going to be the Progressive number 53 of Eric Stamp, and to his outside is going to be the 49 car of Sartaj Mann. Next row back on the inside is going to be the 25 of Caleb Smith, and to his outside is going to be the Lanes number 8 machine of Spencer Hardison. Next row back, you're going to find the Mountain Dew number 63 of Alex Walter. And to his outside in a Ford Mustang is going to be the U-Haul sponsored number 22 of Jacob Hopp. Next row on the inside is going to be the 34 car in that G Fuel number 34 of Robert Kennedy. And to his outside is going to be the number 9 car of Evan Coleman in the Ford Mustang.
Drivers who are going to take a provisional include Matt Dyer, Matthew Rodriguez, and Andy McDowell in the number 20, who we're not seeing on the grid here. Does not look like he will make it in. So here we go, Brett. It's 181 laps the distance here at New Hampshire. Final thoughts before we get set to go green.
Final thoughts here is, it's going to be a long race. Don't be surprised to see a lot of guys, especially with it being the playoffs, just, try to space out here on the beginning and just kind of ride out some of these laps and then take it to the second half. Again, keep in mind and keep an eye out for guys getting really early on that throttle and breaking that rear end loose coming out of the corners. That's going to be a big factor here tonight.
a spot in the round of 8 and a lobster dinner awaits our winner here tonight, if it's a playoff driver, that is. But as the pace truck ducks off, we're green here at New Hampshire. Like our co-announcer Wesley Allen will always say, we're kicking the asphalt here in New Hampshire. Had a problem in lap number 1 off of turn number 4. 5th place Jacob Grant spun off of turn number 4, did not trigger a caution, but Brett, he falls all the way from the top 5. There he is now, tail end of the field in 20th position.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of work to do to get back up through this field. As you see the field starting to space out, there's a little bit of a battle towards the back. I want to say that's the 46 car, if I'm not mistaken, of Trenton Jump and the 12 car of Dylan Browning, as we are pretty much spacing out here. So like I said, keep an eye out, as we got one car going around in the back that's going to bring out the yellow. It's going to be the 6 car of Matthew Rodriguez.
So Rodriguez slow on the track after a spin off of turn number 2. We'll see if we got this on a swag replay to see what puts us under our first caution flag. Here you see him all by himself there, getting just a little bit loose. That's off turn number 4. So we'll see what happens here going into turn number 1. Evan Coleman right in front of him. There's the 5 of Grant behind him. Gets a nice run through the center, but right there just got loose, kind of like what we saw out of Grant a moment ago.
Yeah, it's very hard to get out of these corners, especially, right out the get-go. You're not, everybody's in a pack. I mean, we're kind of spaced out a little bit here, but, the first victim to fall to that, throttle control here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as he's going to tag the back of the field here, as we are just 4 laps into this 181 lap race.
Lap 4, make it 5 as Shane Terrian crosses the strike. First of our swag yellow flags of the afternoon. 181 laps. So Brett, if you were driving in this race, what would be your strategy? Would you want to try to go to the front, or would you want to try to ride in the back and see if some of these guys don't make mistakes and you can capitalize?
To be completely honest with me, it really just depends on qualifying position. If I qualify up towards the front, I'm going to try to get, at least this first cycle, to get a little bit of spacing in between me and the rest of the field. If I qualify towards the back of the pack, I'm just going to ride it out, take the positions when I can, try to see if we can pick up a couple of spots on, maybe a green flag pit cycle. As we seen a couple of guys come down for tires and fuel there. It's different pit strategies are going to play out here, but I think overall throughout the end of the day, you're going to see the driver with the best pit strategy and the best overall composure coming through and out of the corners take home the checker flag.
So we'll see how it goes. Shane Terrian getting out to the lead after starting on the outside of the front row. And Brett, he talked about it earlier in the season after his win earlier. I believe it was at Charlotte. Can't remember which track it was at, but he picked up a big win, and he was running this particular car, the G Fuel Toyota, and he said, I'm thinking about maybe keeping this thing for the rest of the season. We didn't see him back in that car until today. So last time he drove the G Fuel Toyota, he picked up the win. So we'll see how it goes for him here tonight, leading the way in the early stages. See if that paint scheme's got some good luck for him. He had 3 wins on the regular season.
Absolutely. You see a lot of drivers in real life, relying on a lot of superstition like that. Well, last time I had this car out here, I won, so let's try it again. Let's see what this car's got. It's going to be kind of interesting to see if he can pull this off and put that Toyota in victory lane.
And one thing that we missed in the pre-race, one playoff driver not in the field, and it's a big one. Nick Massey in the number 4 always runs Kevin Harvick tribute Busch paint schemes, but he is not in the field here tonight, Brett. That's going to put him behind the 8 ball in the playoffs here in the early going.
Not only that, but big news out of the infield. Robert Kennedy, one of your playoff drivers, he has packed it up and called it a night tonight. I believe he may have gotten a little bit of damage somehow through that first little incident here over the first 7 laps, as he's loaded everything up and called it a night here at New Hampshire.
And remember, he was having issues at the qualifying stages as well, so we will see what happens here on this one for the first run here in the playoffs. 7 laps on the board right now. We're going to start lap 8 when we come back to the line. Big one here for Robert Kenny in the number 34 out of the race. And like you said, that's a playoff driver. Big one here to start the playoffs off for him. Looks like our drivers are stacking them up 2 by 2, so we'll be set to restart this next time by, as I believe the lights are going to go out on the Mustang. Yes, they will. Pace car off next time by.
As it looks like, I believe the leader's going to get the lane choice, and he's going to go to the outside here for this restart. So the number 38 car, he's going to take it to the outside. This is an interesting call, considering, usually, you see most times out of not, the driver that's in the lead prefer the inside groove.
We'll see for sure. Looked like it worked out for him there on the initial start, so we'll see how it goes. It's an all G Fuel front row again. Green flag coming on lap number 9. Shane Tyrion has led all 8 laps thus far as we get set for our first restart of the afternoon. 181 laps at New Hampshire, the margin here tonight, so still early in this one. Tyrion, Stafford, Deweese, Johnson, Stooksbury, your top 5. The number 19 had a lot of speed in it earlier in practice as the pace car ducks off. Coming to green flag, back in the air. We're underway once again in New Hampshire.
And a huge jump there for Tyrion, as he's going to be able to get out front of Bronson Stafford and clear him by about a car length and a half going through turns 1 and 2, as we're going to have a nice battle here shaping up for that 3rd position between the 23 of Tanner Johnson and Braxton Deweese, as they're going to be side by side going through 3 and 4 here. And keep an eye in to see, just how much of a run that 27's able to get on that inside. But as they come through the outside of the corner, just that little bit of extra incline on the outside groove here, it doesn't really help out as much during the race, but keep an eye on it as we go through this 181 laps, as you'll start to see that middle groove come into play a lot more, and you'll be able to see cars getting start to pick up a little bit of a momentum run. As we got one car to the extreme inside, he's going to be able to save it, and an incredible save, if I will add.
That was Tom Bourne in the number 54. Trenton Jump tried to split the gap there, and that is another playoff driver having issues here in the early going, as Jump tried to split the gap and go 3 wide between Johnson and Bourne, and unfortunately it was Bourne who got the worst of it. You see Jump there on the inside in that red and white Ford Mustang. You'll be able to tell the playoff drivers by the yellow splitter and windshield banner and spoiler on the back of their cars. So those indicate the playoff drivers here in this round of 12 here under our 2nd green flag run of the day. 1 caution so far that came in the opening laps. It's been all Shane Tyrion up front in the number 38 with Bronson Stafford behind him. And Brett, these 2 were 2 of the strongest cars in the series in the early stages, and looks like here in the playoffs, once again, same case.
Absolutely. They just continue to show their dominance throughout the entire course of the season. And, like you said, the playoffs are going to be no different, as they've been out front. And I'm pretty sure we'll see them out front for a good portion of this race, as they're starting to pull away from the rest of the pack here, as there was a really good battle there shaping up for about the 5th position. We had a gaggle about 5 or 6 cars. That seems to back up a little bit to about the 9th and 10th position, as you got 3-4 cars there racing under a blanket for top 10 spot right now, as I believe that's going to be Logan Breckley maybe that got into the wall there a little bit, coming off of turn 2, as we got one slow to the inside, as he's going to lose big time ground coming through 3 and 4.
That's Dylan Browning in the number 12, the Dunkin' Donuts entry. Another case of getting loose on corner exit. That's been the big problem here in the early stages, Brett. Drivers getting loose on corner exit. They chase it down to the bottom. Fortunately for them, with the way the track racing groove is set up, they can chase it down to the bottom and be fine as far as caution goes, but it's costing them a lot of time in the race. There's another car off the pace. That's the 13, I believe, of Austin Gretorix, who comes to a slide, and same thing happened again. Now he's going to be stuck on the bottom, but fortunately that happened in the middle of the corner. He's only going to lose 3 spots as opposed to being shuffled all the way to the back.
You know, and that just goes to show, you know, the talent of these drivers in this field here tonight. Is he was running up inside the top 5, and he got extremely sideways right in front of the whole field, and everybody was able to avoid him and not, you know, make any contact at all. They were able to space out, you know, give him the room that he needed to gather that car back up, and we're still back here green flag racing.
Gretorix is the highest scored Chevy in the field. This is a series that, Brett, has been dominated by Fords and Toyotas. In fact, over the last few weeks, we've been trying to keep track of it. Only a handful of Chevrolets in the field. We'll see if we can perhaps get a manufacturer's breakdown on our ticker just so we can see what all we got in it here in tonight's race. And there you see a lot of Fords and Toyotas and only 4 bow ties in the field and only 1 in the top 10 right now.
Absolutely, and I've been keeping my eye towards the back here on this 88 car of Matt Dyer. He started on the grid in 21st position, and he's already up to 14th, and he's been reeling in the 53 of Eric Stamp pretty fast over the past couple of laps as he's almost to the back bumper there through 1 and 2. Keep an eye on that 88 car as he's been showing some strength here early on. I think he may be able to be a contender here to the end of this race if he's able to keep his nose clean, as it looks like we got a little bit of a side-by-side battle, almost 3 cars in a battle here up here for the 6th, 7th, and 8th spot between the 49 of Sarjan Mann, the 5 of Jacob Grant, and the 13 of Austin Gierix.
And remember, Grant in the 5 was the one who slid down to the bottom and lost all that track position, was all the way at the back of the field when that caution came out, already cracking back into the top 10. Loses the spot to Gretorix there in the number 13. Sardaj Mann in the number 49 has been very, very strong over the last few weeks, so not surprised to see him having a good run in the number 49. Playoff driver, of course, in the number 49, as well the 13 of Gretorix. I believe Gretorix is your only Chevy in the playoffs here in this race, so definitely got a good one here in the number 13 tonight, side by side behind them, as it looks like Jacob Hope in the number 22 is trying to make a move on Logan Brecky in the number 29. A couple of Fords go into battle there. This is for the 10th position, as Brecky's on the inside, Hope on the outside.
Hope on the outside and Brecky on the inside, as they're still going to be side by side coming out of the corner as they're starting to reel in the 22 car. And here comes the 88 shot out of a cannon. He's going to go to the inside. It looks like he's going to be able to pick up 2, almost 3 spots with that move to the inside. So like I said earlier, the 88 of Matt Dyer not wasting any time. He has got a strong machine in that number 88, and he is making his way to the front without any time to spare. He's got that Ford Mustang hooked up pretty good with that number 88 Under Armour machine.
Remember, he had issues in qualifying. One car going to slide and just barely missed the commitment cone on the pit road. That was Hope in the 22. Nice save by him again, but I thought for sure, Brett, he was going to have no choice but to bring it down pit road, which would have been a death blow here at this stage of the race, having to go down at pit road speed, but he did an amazing job to gather it up there.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I saw him break it loose coming out of turn 4, and I'm telling you, he was on a beeline path to go head first into that wall. So I'm not sure how he did not, you know, either go down pit road or come head first into that wall. But an amazing wheelman maneuver by that car to just be able to get back up on the straightaway and avoid that inside wall and really not lose many positions on the track, because I think he's only lost maybe 1 or 2 spots on an overall position on the track now.
Fell to 19th position. Another driver who was up near the top 5 earlier is back behind him, Tyler Stooksbury in the number 19. So same thing may have happened to him. And actually, I'm looking at the number 19. He's got some damage on the back of that car. So something happened to the number 19 while we were watching the Hornet's Nest going on there. Stooksbury, a lot of damage there on the back.
Meanwhile, back up front, your leader, the 38 of Shane Tiernan, he's opened up almost a 1.5 second lead over the 61 of Bronson Stafford, as the top 5 cars have pretty much started to pull away from the rest of the field, as Trenton Jump is about 3 seconds back from there.
Yeah, another one going for a slide. Jacob Grant, second time today. He goes for a slide into number 4. And that goes back to what you talked about in pre-race, Brett. Throttle control, crucial here. And that has bit a lot of drivers here in the opening stages. Twice now it's bit Grant.
Yeah, it's really tight corners here. I mean, you can drive the car into the corner pretty deep and get up on the brakes and really slow that car down, but it's able to get that car to rotate to be able to come off the corner in such a sharp, tight corner fashion that really throws a lot of drivers up. If you don't get it rotated enough, you end up plowing the right front into the outside wall, and if you get it over rotated just a little bit too much, you see what happens there. You end up going for a ride of a lifetime. So it's a very fine line between fast and wrecked here, and I think that's what's going to determine the front running step into this playoff battle. Whoever's able to get through here, I think if you can pull out a win here, if you're a playoff driver, it's going to do you really good as far as momentum going through the rest of the playoffs.
So drivers having issues, some of our playoff drivers and some non-playoff drivers having issues. Does not matter who is who in this one. 22 cars took the green flag, 21 of them still on the track. Robert Kenny, the lone car, out of the race right now. And of those 21, all 21 are still on the lead lap, as the top 5 have pulled away. And then you got your first battle that's going on for 6 right now between Mann and Gretorix. 2 playoff drivers battling it out for 6th right now. Mann has it right now, and he's beginning to pull away now from Gretorix. But look who is coming back into the picture now. Matt Dyer into number 88. We talked about him coming through the field, started 21st, already up to 8th. He's your biggest mover of the race thus far.
Yeah, he's coming through the field pretty quick here. We've only went about 27 laps, and it looks like he's already up. Geez, it almost looks like 13, 12 positions already. So, it's going to be interesting to see if we get a caution here, if he gets a little bit closer to the front, if he's got anything for these front running 2 cars up here in these G Fuel Motorsports entries, the number 38 of Shane Tiernan and the 61 of Bronson Stafford, who have pretty much just started to walk away from the field, bringing Braxton DeWeese in tow in 3rd.
Good run for DeWeese as well in 3rd position right now. He had a bit of bad luck for a string of races for a while going on a few weeks ago, but since then has really settled it down. A nice run a couple of weeks ago, and here he is in a playoff position, riding in 3rd right now in the opening stages, and he's got a good 4-second cushion over Trenton Jump right now in the number 46, who's in 4th. So a nice run for DeWeese here in the number 27. Then we got Trenton Jump, also a playoff driver, in the number 46, who had a big slide there in the turn number 3, but Tanner Johnson was so far back, wasn't able to make a good move at him. And it's cool to have Tanner Johnson back in the series. Remember, he is the series president in the number 23, doesn't get to race a whole lot. Back in the field here tonight with the Alabama Crimson Tide on board the number 23 Toyota, top 5 right now.
As it's going to be interesting to see what goes on here, is never mind is the lap car that the leaders were just about to approach, the number 6 car of Matthew Rodriguez. He's going to take a pit side, so your leader's not going to have to worry about lap traffic just yet, as we're going to have another caution come out here tonight. I believe this is just our 2nd caution here overall in this race so far, so it's going to stack the field back up, and this is going to be interesting because Matt Dyer's running in 7th, so if he comes down in pit road with the leaders and he gets a good run here, we could possibly see another car up front here to make it a 3-car battle.
Swag yellow flag for the 2nd time tonight. We take a look at the swag replay. This is deep in the field. I believe we are looking at Hope in the 22. See about the red car up there, the Mountain Dew car. I believe that was the 63 getting slideways, and right there you see Hope go around, and that's not the first time he's had that issue. So second caution of the night here, brought to you by Swag, of course, proud sponsors of LSR TV and a couple of different series that are broadcast on LSR TV. But we are under caution for the second time here tonight at New Hampshire. About 35 or so laps in, 32 laps to be exact. You're watching the Adrenaline iRacing League, and we'll go to commercial soon as pit stops are concluded because everybody's coming down. Field coming down pit road, led by Shane Tyrion. You see the entire field on nobody taking a gamble. Everybody looking for 4 tires and a splash of fuel as they come down into their pit boxes. Remember, Stafford got the pole, so he gets box number 1. Right side's going up on board everybody. Here in this one, we'll see who gets the first pit stop off. Field coming around, left side tires going on, cars already moving down. As we get going, looks like Tyrion is going to win the race off of pit road.
Really close race off of pit road there. I'd give it maybe a half a bumper width, as that was really tight, as a 38 just able to squeak out of the box a little bit faster than Bronson was to regain that top spot coming out of the pit cycle.
All right, well, now we're going to get a chance to thank some of our great sponsors and pay the bills here on LSR TV. Round 1 of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs at New Hampshire. You're watching it live on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Lights out on the pace car. We get set for our second restart of the day here at New Hampshire. New Hampshire Motor Speedway here for round number 1 of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs, and it's 2 playoff drivers up front, Shane Tyrion and Bronson Stafford. We are working lap number 46, or 146 to go, excuse me. I saw that on the tower. Working lap 36, about 18 laps to the stage break. Remember, stage breaks are in effect here in the Adrenaline iRacing League. Stage break will be lap 54 here tonight for the Adrenaline iRacing League. Tyrion has led all 35 laps on the board thus far, but looks like he is going to bring him to the outside. Green flag back in the air. Restart here at New Hampshire.
And he gets another great shot out of that restart as he's able to clear the 61 again going into turns 1 and 2. The 27 of Braxton DeWeese going to get hung up on the outside. He's going to lose that position to the 46 of Trenton Jump as we come down turns 2 into the back straightaway. It looks like Trenton Jump almost got into the wall there coming off of turn 2, as it looks like your top 5, top 6 going to be able to single out. It looks like the only side-by-side battle that's first on the track is going to be around that 6th and 7th spot with Matt Dyer, Austin Gretorix, and the 29 of Logan Bricky.
Jump up in third right now. He's got a lot of speed in that number 46. Hasn't led up there yet, but a lot of speed in. And good run for Gretorix in the number 13. Been up in the top 10 all day. Playoff driver, of course, in the number 13. He's to the inside of Matt Dyer, who's having a great run in the number 88. Remember, he had those issues in qualifying. Spun out both laps, did not get a time. So he had to start tail end of the field in 21st position, up in the top 10. Great recovery for him in the number 88.
And as we're going to go side by side for third here, the 27 going to take a look to the inside of Trenton Jump. He's going to be able to clear him coming out of turn 2, put the 27 car of Braxton DeWeese back up to that third spot, as now you got the 49 of Man coming in tow right behind him, as he's going to follow almost to the back bumper of the 46 as we roll through 3 and 4. But now Matt Dyer looking to set up a move as we got 2 cars getting a little bit loose. They're coming out of the corner, but everybody's able to keep it going and we stay green.
Gretorix trying to size up Man right now and break into the top 5. Trenton Jump hanging out right there as DeWeese begins to pull away side by side for 5th, and Jump with a big slide into number 46. And Gretorix is going to get a 2-for-1 here as he had the pass made on Sardage Man, and then the problems for Jump allow him to carry through, but Man comes fighting back on the backstretch. But while that was going on, great save by Trenton Jump.
Yeah, things got a little dicey there coming down the back straightaway as it put a whole bunch of cars underneath a blanket. Had to back out of it a little bit, regain composure, and get them cars settled back down, as now we're going to have a cluster of cars all grouped together here coming down the back straightaway. As we got one going around. I'm not sure if he was able to save it. No, he wasn't, as the caution flag is going to come out once again.
Swag yellow flag for the 3rd time tonight as Tanner Johnson in the 23 goes around. Collected another driver, believe it may have been Brockton Packard in the number 24, as we take a look at the swag replay. And Brett, you saw this one.
Yeah, it just looked to me like they were coming out of the corner a little bit, and too many cars just trying to get in a cluster here, as you saw the 23 car make a little bit of contact with the 46, and then that left the 24 car nowhere to go, as he's just going to T-bone him right into the side, leaving that 24 car with some heavy damage. Also some heavy damage on that number 23 Crimson Tide Toyota Camry as well. So I'm not sure if they have any repair work that they can do inside the pits, or if they're going to have to come down and wait it out and get that sheet metal banged out. So some cautions plaguing the early races here, but it's going to shake up the field, as that's going to move so far your hard charger of the field, the 88 of Matt Dyer in that Under Armour 88. I believe it's a Ford Mustang, as he's going to go from 21st to 6th already. So keep an eye on him as he's inching his way towards the front.
No fast repairs in this series, so they are going to have to get that damage repaired manually. Trenton Jump was involved in that as well. He comes in with a lot of damage on the number 46, but boy, that number 24 of Brockton Packard had quietly worked his way back into the top 10 before all this happened. Another car on pit road getting some repairs that we didn't see have damage. That was the 12 of Dylan Browning, also on pit road. Some cars deep in the field also coming down pit road for tires and fuel, but no fast repairs in this one, so these guys are going to have to get that damage repaired manually, and that's going to be a tough break for the number 46 of Jump, a playoff driver. A lot of speed in that number 46 car. He's on pit road with a lot of damage, having to get it fixed. He's rolling now, but that's more playoff implications.
Yeah, and the front two G Fuel cars, as much as you don't really like to wish ill on an opponent, that had to make them a little more comfortable being up front, and especially seeing the speed that he was able to show there under that last green flag run. As it's going to be able to give them a little bit more of a breathing room, one less fast driver that they got to worry about coming up through the field. As so far it's been the G Fuel Toyota Camrys who've pretty much shown the way this entire race. Not really many people have had much for them, as it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can get up front here and compete with these two now that the 46 car was taken out in that last wreck.
The Sky and Ground Motorsports teammates up front with the 38 of Tyrion and the 61 of Bronson Stafford. Two very fast Toyotas, but hanging tight in third is Braxton Deweese in the number 27, another Toyota. Remember, he switched over to he did not switch to Tomasi Racing. Was looking at the wrong name there. It was the number 27 of Deweese switching over the Sim Performance Group with Sardage Mann that moved him into a Toyota. He's having a good run. Both those drivers are, as they sit third and fourth on the chart, so they're going to make up row number 2 on this restart.
And, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that he's also running a Toyota. We have 3 Toyotas in the top 3, as it looks like the Toyotas and the Fords continuing to show their season dominance here in the playoffs, as it's been mostly Toyotas and Fords battling it out here. As you said, not many Chevys making the playoffs, but just, keep an eye, as, it seems that the Toyotas are hooking up a little bit better here around this mile of New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a little bit better than them Ford Mustangs are right now.
It's a Toyota top 4 with Sardage Mann as well. Austin Gretorix, your only Chevy in the top 5 right now, the only Chevy in the playoffs. And Brett, there's only 4 Chevys in the field tonight. That just shows you just how many Fords and Toyotas there are in this series. Right now, top 4 are all Toyotas, and then Gretorix's Chevy. The highest blue oval is Matt Dyer in the 88, who sits 6th.
And I tell you right now, that number 88, Matt Dyer Ford Mustang, he has got a hot rod underneath him tonight. Keep an eye on him over this next green flag run, as it's going to be interesting to see if he's got anything for our top 3 cars that have pretty much had a stronghold over this entire 46 laps so far.
Remember, stage break coming up here in just under 10 laps. Lap 54 is the stage break here in the Adrenaline iRacing League at New Hampshire. Believe lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to get back to racing here. Once again, Shane Tyrion is taking the outside into number 38. Really seems to be working for him, taking that outside lane here, Brett.
Yeah, and this field's going to be restacked and repacked. As you said, the lights are out on that iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car, as we are going to hand the field back over to the 38 car of Shane Tiernan, as he's going to choose the outside lane again. So the 38 car able to get the outside lane and the jump on these restarts here. It's going to be interesting to see, if he's able to do it again, as it looks like the field's hanging back a little bit here on this restart.
8 laps to the stage break, and 4 Toyotas up front, then a Chevy and a Ford battling it out. 8 to go to the stage break. Back green, and look at the restart Sardage Mann got into number 49. He's going to get up in front of Bronson Stafford. Stafford's going to fight back on the inside, but a nice battle for the second spot. Oh, Tyrion! He had to check up there in turn number 2, and that cost him a lot of track time, because here comes Sardage Mann looking for the lead in the 49.
Yeah, and it looks like that restart there did not help the G Fuel cars at all, as this 49 car now able to get the front nose clear a little bit, as he's not going to be able to get to the line, as there's going to be some slight contact made. Everybody able to keep it going, but we have a caution coming out. Not really sure what the caution's for. Do you happen to have an eye on that?
Looking for it here, as well as the production truck we were hearing. It's the 63 of Alex Walter. Take a look at the swag replay. What put us under our 4th swag yellow flag. Ooh, a slide out of Packard. Trenton jump sliding, and then Alex Walter gets the worst of it. But Packard and jump sliding before that, and Trenton jump struggles continue in the 46.
As everything's going to get restacked and repacked here again with another caution right before the stage break. I don't know if we're going to be able to get green flag in before the stage break here, with only having about 5 laps until the stage break. But pretty interesting to see that run that the 49 of Man was able to get all the way up to the front, not able to clear to be able to lead a lap there, as slight damage was made between him and Shane Tiernan in that 38 machine. So keep an eye on that 49, as he just showed his hand a little bit early here to possibly having something for these front two contenders.
Yeah, it was a great restart for Sardage Man. He's going to be put back into third as lap time and scoring has Stafford in front of him. But Shane Tiernan, I'm telling you, he may have got lucky there on that caution, because it was close here in this one, as still everybody's staying out there. But unfortunately, playoffs not off to a good start for one Trenton Jump in the number 46, as he has been involved now in 2 incidents in the number 46 and has already been off and on pit road a couple of times for damage repair. Has more to repair now. He's on pit road again.
Yeah, definitely not the night that he was looking for through the first 50 laps here at Loudon, New Hampshire, as we're going to roll it here under caution. As you see, the top 5 so far, the 38 of Shane Tiernan, the 61 of Bronson Stafford. Again, those two are the teammates in the G Fuel cars. Next in line, the 49 of Sartan Man, then the 27 of Braxton DeWeese, and then the 88 of Matt Dyer. So all 5 cars in the top 5 have showed some strength here throughout the course of the first 50 laps of this race, regardless of where they've been throughout the field. So as we get ready to come into the second stage here in about, 5 laps or so, it's going to be interesting out of these 5 cars to see if, we have a little bit more close action-packed racing up front, since we have such, strong cars towards the front of the field here.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting to see. Slight shootout time here for the stage break. Tyrion leading in the number 38. Lights still on the pace car. With every lap that clicks away, it gets closer and closer to that stage break. I think we may be setting up perhaps for a 1-lap shootout for the stage break here, as the set distance is lap 54. We will see what happens here, as we are in the process of asking if this will just count for the stage break, or if they're going to go for the restart. So we'll see what happens here as you ride on board, of course, with the G Fuel Toyota of Shane Tiernan, waiting for word from series officials if this will be the stage break or if we will have the shootout.
And while we wait for confirmation, and I do believe they said it's still going to be the end of lap 54, which will give us maybe a 1 or 2 lap shootout here. So it's going to be interesting to see if that 61 tries to show his nose here a little bit with only having a couple of laps, and try to gain that lead from his teammate coming into the next stage and get control of the field on the restart. All
right, if the lights go out on the pace card this time, which they do not, so that means we are going to have a 1-lap shootout here for the stage break. This is going to be one heck of a mile.
And a lot of things can happen in a single lap, like we saw in that last restart. Is the 61 going to hang back a little bit and start side by side with that 49? And is that going to allow Man to possibly stick his nose in there and capture the lead like he did with that early run and that last little green flag run that we had, as he showed some strength? So a lot of playoff implications for starting position going into the next stage, with the top 5 cars all having playoff hopefuls here. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens here in this little 1-lap shootout.
Definitely going to be interesting. Keep your eyes, of course, on that number 49 of Sardage Man, who had such a good run on that last restart. See what he can do on this restart. Again, it's an all Toyota top 4 right now, with the Ford and Chevy switching back there, as Matt Dyer has gotten into the top 5, with Gretorix now 6th. Here we go. Top 4 playoff drivers right now, and then Gretorix is also a playoff driver, but he's split by Matt Dyer. Top 4 playoff drivers, all in Toyotas. 1-lap shootout for the stage.
As you said, the lights are going to go off on the iRacing.com pace car. As you see the 61 there of Bronson Stafford hanging back a little bit there. Now, this almost came back to bite these teammates with the 49 car. And Braxton DeWeese, who's been running in the top 3 for the majority of the laps that we've ran so far, he's got a pretty strong car. Do we see him take a shot at it here on this 1-lap shootout? But also keep an eye on that 49, as the top 4 cars all have fast cars, and this is is just, like you said, a single lap. So it's going to be very interesting to see, you know, what happens over the next course of the mile. Is the pace truck going to pull down into the pits, and the 38 is going to get on the loud pedal, and we are going to be green flag racing with 1 lap to go before the stage break.
Here we go, 1 lap shootout for the stage break, and man has problems in the 49. He came up in front of Deweese, and that's going to cost him a lot of track position as Dyer gets up to 3rd. Can Matt Dyer possibly steal it here in the number 88 drag race down the backstretch between the teammates up front, Tyrion and Stafford? Tyrion with a lead right now. He's led every lap of the race thus far. He's going to come off turn number 4, hold off Bronson Stafford, and a clean sweep of the first stage. Shane Tyrion holds on for the lead and the stage victory to start the playoffs.
Shane Tyrion absolutely dominant through that first 54 laps of this race, but Matt Dyer is going to be right on his back bumper when we go back green flag racing here. So it's going to be interesting to see, even though we had that caution flag, does anybody come down and top off on fuel and tires, you know, going into this next stage? And it's going to be interesting between these top 3, as you saw Matt Dyer get right up on the bumper of Bronson Stafford coming out of turn 3 and 4, but he opted out of trying to dive underneath him for the position coming into that caution break there.
So pit stops underway, second round of pit stops here, stage break in the books. Shane Tyrion led all 54 laps of that stage on pit road for the second time today, getting some tires and some fuel to set up here for the run to the finish here. And oh, Matt Dyer has problems. He slid through his pit stall in the number 88. You saw it right there. Problems for Matt Dyer. That could cost him. Drivers still getting it going right now. Dyer down in the way. We'll see how much that does cost him, as a lot of cars are going to be rolling here. Tyrion wins the race off pit road. Matt Dyer, the 88, came down pit road in 3rd. He's going to come out 8th. So tough break there for sure, but there you see your stage 1 winner, Shane Tyrion, leading the way. We've reached the stage break here in the opening round of the playoffs. Stage 2, the run to the finish, coming up here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
Gentlemen, we're off and racing for 300 laps tonight, 300 laps tomorrow night. Look at car number 110. He said, look at me, I'm out the lead. He is right in the middle of the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen, in reverse with cars going.
Here we go, stage number 2, the run to the finish, getting set, and Brett, 3 cars stayed out for track position here for this restart. Spencer Hardison, Jacob Hope, who's had a lot of issues, and Alex Walter in the 63. 3 cars on old tires here for this restart.
Yeah, things are going to go either really well or really bad here, as I'm not sure they've got too much wear, as we just had a caution right before the stage change here, so they might be able to hold out front a little bit here, but keep in mind everybody behind them has just a little bit fresher rubber, so it's going to be interesting to see the gap here as the iRacing pace car is going to pull off, and the green flag is going to be out now, as a couple of the cars, it looks like they almost spun their tires, as we're going to be 3 wide for 5th coming into turn 1. As you see that, I believe that was the 12 car of Dylan Browning who decided to back out of it there, not trying to go 3 wide early on into the second stage, as we have all the cars here fanning out a little bit. It looks like drivers getting loose coming off turn 2 as we roll down the back straightaway.
Browning decided, I don't want to go too wide, and Austin Gretorix in the 13 said, okay, I will, as he makes his way up in the number 13. Highest scored Chevy in the field right now, battling with Bronson Stafford for that 5th position. Stafford has it, Gretorix wants it. Meanwhile, Spencer Hardison making those old tires work so far, as he's still up in front, leading the way here. Started 16th. Actually, our drivers in the top 3 right now, 16th, 17th, 18th starting position. 1, 2, 3 in the running order right now, as Walter taking a peek for the lead in the code red number 63. Hope has had some issues in the 22, but he gets a nice run before you find Tyrion and Stafford, and a slide out of Logan Brecky behind him.
Alex Walter going to get a little bit loose there. He's going to lose the run on Spencer Hardison coming down the front straightaway, as Jacob Hope way up on the outside, almost catching the wall, it looked like, as he's going to get a really good run. He's going to get a little loose, as that's going to throw Tiernan down to the inside, as he's going to take a look to the inside of the 63 car for position number 2 now as we go through 3 and 4. The 63 looking to hang tough. That's Alex Walter on the outside. He's trying to chase back down the 9 car, but Tiernan wants that lead back, as he's got the 61 of Bronson Stafford, his teammate, in tow, as the guy that was in 3rd place right before we did that stage change, Matt Dyer, he's had a little bit of trouble coming through the field on the second stage run so far, as he's back in 9th place right now. So it looks like the G Fuel car is able to get back through these old tire cars, as now you see Tiernan going back underneath the 8 car of Spencer Hardison for the lead out of 3 and 4.
Yeah, something happened with Hardison, because Tyrion had to go way down to the bottom to avoid running in the back of him in order to make that pass. Shane Tyrion gets back to the lead in the number 38, but something happened on Hardison on corner exit there. He's got to gather back up and sits in 2nd now, as here comes Stafford with Gretorix behind him, and Braxton Deweese coming back up into number 27, but nice recovery here for Hardison as he sits in 2nd right now. And right now those old tires seem to be working out a little bit for him, as Walter and Hope not so much, as they try to settle it down. Hardison still sitting in 2nd place, but Tyrion back out front. Meanwhile, Eric Stamp, a playoff driver, he's cracked the top 5 for the first time in the number 53. He is silently making his way up to the field.
And keep an eye on the 13 car there, as that is the Cobra Motorsports number 13, the only Chevy in the playoffs, as you stated, Austin Gretorix. He is up to the 4th spot now, as he's trying to chase down, it looks like that's the 61 of Bronson Stafford, who's trying to put a move on the 8 car of Spencer Hardison now. And as those 2 drivers battle, watch the gap close for that 13 car in 4th place, as the 61's going to want to try to get by this 8 car as quick as possible, as he's going to have him clear coming out of turn number 2. But you see the 13 almost to the back bumper. The 8 cars, we're going to come through 3 and 4 now. So the 13 able to take advantage of that, as he's got a strong Chevy Camaro coming through this field, as now he's looking to dive underneath the 8 car of Hardison for that 3rd spot. Not going to quite have him clear just yet, as he will now as we cross the stripe. So put Gretorix up to 3rd in that Chevy Camaro.
So Gretorix up in the 3rd spot now, highest the Chevy has been in quite some time. Playoff driver in the number 13, and what he doesn't want is for what was happening while Stafford and Hardison were battling it out, while that gap between them closed, the gap between them and Shane Tyrion opened back up. It's 1.2 seconds last time by. See what it is this time at the stripe as they cross, and it's another 0.2 of a second added on, so 1.5 seconds now between Tyrion. Meanwhile, Matt Dyer is beginning his climb back to the field. He's up to 6, but they're fanned out 3 wide behind them as Hope is stuck on the outside, and a big slide out of Walter into number 63, and it is a Hornet's nest back here from about 8th on back. Oh, 1 car in the wall.
Yes, 1 car into the outside wall. I believe that may have been the 53 of Eric Stamp, yes. As we're going to have a couple of cars getting sideways towards the back here. As we're going to be 3 wide down the front straightaway between Braxton DeWeese, the 22 of Jacob Hope, and the 46 of Trenton Jump, who's back out now after that incident earlier, as he's trying to make his way back to the front. There's a lot of action happening towards the back of this pack, as now you see the 22 again getting a little sideways coming off the corner. So a lot of drivers, thinking, now's the time in this long run while we're all stacked up, trying to get a couple of positions here, as almost going to take the front bumper off is that number 22 now of that 46 car, Trenton Jump. He almost had the complete nose taken off of that car as the 22 is sideways coming out of 4.
Remember, 3 playoff drivers up in this mix right now. Those are the 25 Caleb Smith, 46 Trenton Jump, and 27 Braxton DeWeese. All playoff drivers trying to get up back into the top 10 right now. They are trying to fight their way back, and I'm keeping my eye specifically on the number 46 of Trenton Jump, because remember, 2 incidents in the first stage has left quite a bit of damage on the right rear of that number 46. He's taking the move now to the inside of Smith in the 25. This is for 11th on the charts. They're side by side in front of him as well, but I'm keeping my eye on that number 46. Fortunately, the good news for him, Brett, is we're not an aero-sensitive track. Matt Dyer has issues. We got problems. 3 playoff drivers involved. Brecky. And I saw Dyer going around, and we have a big one here on the backstretch.
We're still wrecking here in turns 3 and 4, as I think the biggest loser out of that whole ordeal was the 88 of Matt Dyer, as he's going to lose a couple of spots here. But we had cars going everywhere down the back straightaway, as it looked like somebody got loose coming off of 2.
There you see Matt Dyer moves right there, and here you see Logan Brecky fighting it, gets into Tom Bourne, and Bourne came right back up in front of the field. Matt Dyer involved. I think Trenton Jump got through. Let's take one more look at the swag replay here. Brecky getting through. Look at Tyler Stooksbury locking him up there. Man, who was that? Was that Matt Dyer that got collected there at the end? Unbelievable. What a job by Tyler Stooksbury to get through that. Let's see if we can go on board with Stooksbury in that number 19 to see what he saw, because he not only had to dodge Brecky, but Tom Bourne came back up in front of him as well. This is on board right here with Stooksbury. There goes Brecky, and there goes Bourne.
As your leaders, all your leaders now going to come down pit road to make I don't believe this is a scheduled tire stop, just looking to possibly, top everything off to make it to the end of the stage, as I don't know exactly how far we are away from that second stage, as the first stage ended at lap 54, so I could only imagine, we still got about another 30 laps or so in this stage here. So as we had a very nice battle off of pit road for the lead, as it looks like the 38 able to get about a car length, so a little bit better run off of off of the pit lane exit there to keep the position.
Under caution, once again, a swag yellow flag here at New Hampshire International Raceway. As we get set for the restart, we're under a kind of a long caution, so we're going to rest our voices for just a moment. Get one more thank you to our sponsors in. You are watching the Adrenaline iRacing League opening round of the playoffs on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. A big update here in this one. Sardaj Man, another playoff driver, was caught up in that, is out of the race, disconnected with a lot of damage. And Brett, that is huge for playoffs.
Yeah, it looks like tonight we've been seeing a lot of our playoff drivers having a little bit of issues here tonight. Don't know if it's just that throttle control that I was talking about earlier, if it's just getting caught up and stuff. I know that was a pretty big wreck that we just had here on the back straightaway. I'm pretty sure he got caught up in that, but I'm not going to speculate there. But yes, he is definitely packed up, loaded up the car, and they've called it a night for that number 49 crew. As I believe the pace lights are going to be off. Yes, they are. The pace lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car. We are going green this time out of 4.
Well, the good news is for our playoff drivers that have had issues thus far, it's only race number 1. You still have 2 more opportunities in this round to get yourself back into the mix. And remember, a win and you're in to the round of 8. So that's the good news for them. The bad news is if this happens again next week, that makes the race in 2 weeks do or die. So we'll see how it goes for our drivers who have had the issues here in this race. Shane Tyrion back in front. Lane choice once again on the outside. He's got Stafford to his inside, just like the whole first stage. Green flag back in the air. We're racing again on lap 77.
As the 2 G Fuel teammates going to take the green flag, they're going to lead them down into turns 1 and 2. But keep an eye on that Cobra number 13 car. That's Austin Gretorix. He's coming with a head full of steam as he just cleared the 53 of Eric Stamp coming out of turn number 2. So the 13 car, the only Chevy that we've got in the playoffs, he's maintained that 3rd place position now as he's starting to reel in the 61 of Bronson Stafford.
The Team Chevy executives watching at home are cheering hard for Austin Gretorix in the number 13, leading he's running the flag for them here in this series. The only Chevy driver in the 12 playoff driver field, as he is running in 3rd right now. Big slide in the back. Who was that going up the track there? That may have been Jacob Grant in the number 5, who has fought his way back into the top 10 again, Brett. He has slid not once but twice all the way to the back, and here he is back in the top 10 again. Nice recovery story here so far for Jacob Grant.
And one thing that I would like to point out, you said something a little bit earlier about the little bit of drivers that we had get involved in cautions. And speaking of cautions, we're going to have another one here come out on lap number 78. So caution back on the speedway. I'm not sure exactly what that was there, so we're going to try to get the swag replay up for you here in just a second.
Here, and it's another playoff driver, Braxton DeWeese in the 27. It's Evan Coleman to his inside going into turn number 1. Just slight contact. And I was getting ready to make a point before we had an issue. I believe the one that brought out the last caution. These cars are very aero sensitive, Brett, but at this track it doesn't really affect it as much as, say, Kansas or Chicago or even Michigan for that matter. But you still have it here at the track, and you just saw it right there. Just the slightest contact with this aero package can send the guy around.
See, and that's the thing that I like about Loudon is it's not really a big track, but it's not really a short track either. Like, it's not a short track like you'd see at like Bristol or Martinsville, tight, close quarters racing, pretty much trying to shoot a BB in a boxcar. But, at the same time, you do have that sense of it being somewhat like short track racing here. A lot of close action, a lot of throttle control coming into play. And one thing that I want to point out here is, you said, something about having, 2 more weeks for the drivers in our chase that have had issues struggling here tonight. But the one thing that does for them, not in a positive manner, is that also, gives the guys that have not wrecked, like your top 5 so far right now, that gives them that little bit of a buffer room to, make a mistake or 2 going into the next 2 races, to where the drivers that had issues tonight, they've got to be on their game the next 2 weeks if they want to continue in this playoffs.
Lucky dog going to one of the playoff drivers. Tom Bourne was caught up in that big mess on the backstretch last caution that put us under the swag yellow flag, as he's gets going, and you see there's still a lot of damage on that number 54. No fast repairs in this series, so once you get that damage, you gotta make the adjustments as they go. One guy who's had to do that a couple of times and has fought his way back into the top 5 is Trenton Jump in the number 46 playoff driver. Damage on the right rear of that car, Brett, and he has twice been off and on pit road, and here he is back in the top 5 again.
As it looks like, your top 5 are going to be your your playoff drivers, and the next playoff driver that I see in line is going to be all the way back in position number 11. That's going to be the number 25 machine, and that is going to be Caleb Smith, as he's back there in the Renware machine, that Ford Mustang. He's trying to get back up front and be able to contend with the rest of these playoff drivers. As you see some drivers here with a lot of damage, and you pointed that out earlier, how this track isn't really as finicky as aero packages come, to something like, a big track like Kansas or Kentucky or even Daytona, like a super speedway. You're able to get away with a little bit more crinkle in your body here, and it won't really affect you in overall speed. The thing you got to worry about here is more so the engine damage, and I'm wondering, from the cautions that we've seen here so far, is there anybody in this field that has a little bit of engine damage that could come into play towards the end of this race and limit them from getting the win?
Very good point here, as we are a little bit before halfway here. We're about 10 laps from halfway here in this one, just a little bit less than 10, I believe. So coming up on the halfway break, or not the halfway break, but the halfway point of this race, I should say. And that's a good point to bring up. We have a lot of drivers who've had some damage, and wondering how many of them do have some engine damage that's going on. It wasn't in this series, but I can remember calling a race where a driver was up near the front after being caught up in an incident early, but his engine expired with 2 laps to go because of the damage, and that was at Daytona, and he was up in the front of the pack. And when the motor goes to Daytona because of engine damage, you can pretty much, that's self-explanatory what happened next.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the big things here is not only that, but if somebody does have engine damage, with this being a smaller of the big size tracks, and you've seen the little bit of room and leeway that you've had as far as driver error, whether it be getting loose or pushing up into the wall coming out of the exit of the corners. If somebody does have engine failure, is the rest of the field going to be able to check up and get out of the way in time, or are we going to have another possible big one here?
Very well could happen. Lights are out on the Ford Mustang pace car, so getting set to get back green with 2 Toyota Camrys up front, and it has been the Shane Tyrion show here so far in his G Fuel Toyota, with Bronson Stafford to his inside. Stafford, no doubt, is going to be looking for any opportunity he can to get up and get some laps led here, as Shane Tyrion has done a fantastic job here in the early stages. And these 2 drivers, again, we talked about, have been 2 of the strongest all year long. But keep your eyes on that red and white number 46 in 5th, Trenton Jump. See how he can go with that right rear damage. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once again.
And you were just talking about it, a great jump there out of the number 46 car of Trenton Jump, as he's going to have that 5th spot cleared, and he's going to be able to get to it. Oh, as we got teammates, a nice shot in the back bumper to Tiernan from his teammate Stafford, as the 53 of Eric Stamp going to charge to the outside of the 61, as he's looking to take P2. He's going to go to the extreme outside. He's going to get up off the asphalt and out to that black outer groove, and that's going to cost him the 2nd spot. But now you've got the 13 car sticking his nose inside, possibly taking that top 3 transfer.
He's trying to get up there in the 53, but Kotorix comes fighting back on the inside in the Chevy, trying to get up there, and he will. Kotorix able to clear. Chevy back in the top 3. Ford back to 4th. Here comes Trenton Jump, and another Ford to the inside. He's trying to get back up in the 4th after the start he had to the race. No doubt he wants to have a good one. Meanwhile, Tyler Stooksbury, still with that damage from early in the race, he has fought his way back up, trying to break into the top 5 now in the number 19.
But keep an eye on that number 88, Matt Dyer. He had just gotten involved in that last wreck. He was towards the back of the field. He's already back up to 8. So Matt Dyer coming with a full head of steam, as it looks like the 63 car of Alex Walter going to go for a ride coming out of turn number 2, as I don't believe it's going to bring the caution out, as he's going to have to get back up on the wheel and get going, as he's stuck down in the grass, it looks like, as he's just now going to be able to get back out on the track and going. But your leaders are now coming through 1 and 2, so he's going to lose a lot of ground in the number 63 machine.
So trying to rally it back together is the number 63 of Alex Walter. He is now the last car on the lead lap. Tom Bourne 1 lap down, and the number 54 is the current lucky dog. And remember, he is a playoff driver. That is big. Walter is not a playoff driver, so he is hoping, Tom Bourne is at least, that he can hold on to that lucky dog position. He's the only driver 1 lap down. Next up on the mark is Stardust Man, who's 15 laps down and out of the race. So Bourne in the lucky dog position. He's hoping that Alex Walter does not get caught by your race leader, Shane Tyrion. For reference, Walter is coming out of turn 4 right now. Slide, and he's in the wall. Walter is in the wall. No caution, he spun out, went head on into the wall, and he's got some damage on the front and a lot of engine damage to that number 63. I don't know how that didn't bring out a caution.
You can see a bunch of smoke pouring out of the back of that number 63 machine, as the leaders are going to come by him here on the front straightaway and into 1 and 2. But out of all the commotion of everybody getting loose and everybody stacking up, look at what's happened here again. These two G Fuel cars, the Toyota Camrys up here of Tiernan and Stafford, are starting to pull away from the field again, as they've opened up just about a 1.5 second lead from the leader to 3rd place, and Stafford trying to reel in his teammate now.
Bronson Stafford in the number 61 trying to get going again. Alex Walter, I don't think he's under power anymore in the number 63. He is limping, trying to get back to pit road. He's going to pull down on the access road, so we will be able to stay green, but the motor has expired on the number 63 as Tyrion continues to lead. Stafford 0.8 of a second back, and then it's Gretorix, and then Jump and Stamp, and a Hornet's Nest going on now as Stooksbury's gotten around Stamp, but Stamp coming back on the outside. Big bobble out of Eric Stamp in the number 53, and that's going to allow Coleman to get a run in as well.
Absolutely. Another driver that we haven't really talked much about tonight, the number 9 machine of Evan Coleman. He started just in front of Matt Dyer in the number 20 position here tonight. So started towards the back. He's up to the 6th spot right now. He's got a little bit of cosmetic damage, but this just goes to show you a little bit of bent up fenders ain't going to slow you down at New Hampshire, as he's put together a really good run here through the first half of this race.
Yeah, very nice run for Jump in the number 46. And again, he's lucky that this is at New Hampshire and not one of those other big tracks that we talked about where the aero sensitivity is not as bad as it could be on other tracks. Boy, another slide in the back from Jacob Grant in the number 5, sitting in 9th right now. He has had pretty much the epitome of a roller coaster day in that number 5 Ford Mustang, because he has been slipping and sliding just about everywhere, almost like a dirt track. Speaking of sliding, Eric Stamp having a big one there, and running into the back of him is Grant. That's going to allow Hope to get to the inside, and that started, I believe, with possibly some contact between Stamp and Dyer off of turn number 4.
Another one of your playoff contenders having a little bit of issues here with some contact, as they were almost 3 wide there for a second, as the 22 of Jacob Hope trying to get his nose in there, as the 5 car now of Jacob Grant going to have Stamp cleared and put Stamp now back to the 9th position, as he's fallen back from that 4th starting spot that he was in on this restart. So curious if there may be a little bit of issue starting to form for that number 53 machine, as he's starting to fall towards the second half of this race.
Remember, he may have cut the wall a few laps ago, and that could be affecting the handle of that number 53, as trying to see if he has any damage on the right rear. Couldn't see any when he went down into turn number 3. We'll see if he's got some damage going on here off of turn number 4. And yes, a lot of damage, specifically the left rear of the 53. He is slipping and sliding all over the place, so a lot of damage on the left rear of the 53. That's what's affecting him right now, and that's what he's fighting as. Whoa, Jacob Grant again with a big slide in the number 5 car.
Some heat starting to pick up towards your top 5 is the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth cars starting to catch each other. The 9 car of Evan Coleman has gotten to the back of the 46 car of Trenton Jump as he's going to follow him in through turns 1 and 2. He's going to take a peek to the inside real quick. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it stick coming off here, as he's got a very good run coming through the backside of that corner. He's not going to be able to get a good run coming out of the corner though, so Trenton Jump going to be able to hold on to that 5th spot so far, but keep your eye on Evan Coleman as this race goes along. As it goes along, that 9 car seems to get stronger and stronger.
Coleman has been showing a lot of speed, but he has some damage on the rear of that car as well. As here we go, getting set. We are in the second half of this one, coming up on lap 100. As we get set for the charge to the finish here for round number 1, it's been all Shane Tyrion in the number 38.
And another driver that's coming through the field that had some issues with one of those cautions is the number 27 car of Braxton DeWeese. We saw him absolutely dominate with the G Fuel cars at the beginning of this race. He ran top 3 for the majority. He got involved in that wreck not too long ago. He's got a lot of damage on that right front of that Zimmerman number 27 machine, as he has just now gotten back into the top 10 and inside the number 5 of Jacob Grant for that number 9 position.
Been a roller coaster day for Grant in that number 5 car. Braxton DeWeese trying to fight his way back up. He is up to, I believe he will be scored in the 8th position as they cross the stripe this time. Yes, he will. So as we roll here, we are at lap 100. Coming to complete that lap 100, there will be 81 to go here for Shane Tyrion in the number 38. And this has been such a dominating performance out of him so far here, Brett.
Absolutely. He led absolutely 100% of the first stage, and he's picked up right where he left off as he's taken that lead back, and he's pretty much checked out so far as he's opened up a 1.2 second lead, and it looks like it's starting to grow a little bit per lap. So he's starting to pull away from his teammate there, Bronson Stafford, but both of those cars have just completely pulled away from the rest of the field. Is about 3 seconds back from them is going to be the 19 of Tyler Stooksbury, who has taken over that 3rd position from the number 13 of Austin Gretorix.
Oh, sorry, Brett. Stooksbury's had a lot of speed in that number 19 car today. Didn't get the qualifying lap he may have wanted because he was 2/10 faster in practice than qualifying, but he still qualified 6th, and here he is up in 3rd right now.
Yeah, very strong run for him. He started in the 6th position. I believe he may have gotten shuffled to the back a time or two in this race as well. As I believe this is the first time we've really seen him up inside the top 5 other than from when he started towards the front. As now it looks like the rest of the field starting to catch these two, as Trenton Jump and Evan Coleman starting to gain a little bit of ground on them, but still out front, Shane Tiernan still pulling away as that gap starting to open up a little bit more over Bronson Stafford.
Tyrion pulling away 1.3 seconds the gap right now as they're single file throughout pretty much the length of the field. First side-by-side battle is all the way here in the 14th position between Spencer Hardison and Brockton Packard, as Dylan Browning got around them as well. And around goes the 22 of Hope right in front of Hardison, and we have a caution here at lap 104.
Another caution going to bring out another restack and repack for this field, as I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the 19 of Stooksbury wanted to see. Something to be able to, catch up with these leaders and possibly give these guys a run for their money, and, see what he's got for that 19 car towards the end of this race.
So under caution again, we take a look at the swag replay here to see what put us under the swag yellow flag, as this was a battle for 15th and 14th. Dylan Browning had just gotten by in the number 12, and there you see Hope going for a slide and Hardison nowhere to go, and Hope coming to a stop.
Spencer Hardison, the guy you saw, not go in and stay out under that last, stage race. He stayed out front. He was able to hold off everybody for a little bit, but, luck catching up with him here at Loudon tonight.
So So we'll see if we get any takers here on pit road, and looks like we will have everybody come down.
Everybody coming down. As you see, the two G Fuel cars have about a car length gap over that 19. So I'm wondering if, you know, a little bit of, you know, strategy coming onto pit road is what's been allowing these G Fuel cars to stay up front. You know, think about it. You get into your box about a car length quicker than the guy behind you. That's pretty much almost guaranteeing your success of coming out ahead of them.
Pit stops underway. Tyrion leading the way. Notice Stafford has some damage on the rear of that number 61 car as they were coming down pit road. So we'll have to see what happens with him moving forward. Tyrion gets the race off pit road once again as they fan out. It's Tyrion, Stafford, Stooksbury, your top three. Rest of the field will be reset when we come back from commercial here, as this should be our final commercial to the finish. You're watching the opening race of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Here we go, getting set for another restart. Shane Tyrion, lane control once again. No surprise, going to the outside as he's done all night here at New Hampshire. He has been the dominant car here, Brett, but some new challengers are beginning to make their way to the front.
Absolutely. You got a lot of fast cars now starting to make their way to the front, as every single car in the top 3 rows right now at some point has been in the top 5 before and able to get to the back bumper of these G Fuel cars. So over the next, I'd say, 70 laps, 72 laps, you know, this is going to be pretty much a slobber knocker here. You know, it's going to be really interesting as the pace car is going to drop down and the green flag is going to come out now. It's going to be interesting to see if these two G Fuel cars, you know, if they're really content running 1 and 2 for this first race, or how much racy they're going to get for position, and if that ends up costing them in the long run, as it looks like that's going to be the 19 and the 46 with a very good run through 1 and 2, as they're only going to lose a little bit of ground to Bronson Stafford, but it looks like Shane Tiernan just absolutely checked out by about 2/10 now.
As Tewksbury gets back around jump for that third spot. But I'm wondering if Stafford is actually going all out right now on that number 61, or if he's saving just a little bit to try to track down his Sky Motorsports teammate in the number 38 of Tiernan. We'll see how it goes from here on the rest of the way. Those Sky and Ground Motorsports teammates 1-2 right now.
As you take a look back now just to the outside of the top 5 is Austin Gretorix trying to get a good run on Matt Dyer's. Oh, we got some huge contact.
Huge one here.
Matt Dyer going to go up and over. He's going to barrel roll it down the front straightaway, about 1 or 2 rotations there, as the caution's going to come back out for some heavy contact.
Evan Coleman involved. Swag replay on screen. Let's see where this started. You're on board with Hope in the 22, and all you see is a flying number 88 of Matt Dyer. Spencer Hardison squeaking through. I saw Eric Stamp. That's Caleb Smith with damage. He's a playoff driver, but there is the 88 of Dyer. Pretty much he's not going anywhere here in this one. Let's take a look at what happened. That's Austin Gretorix who's inside, and Dyer just bobbled, came down in front of Coleman, and nowhere to go. Man, who was that who plowed into the back of him? Was that possibly Browning? In the 12, who was that who got into Dyer right there, rolling right there, that black and red car? Let's see if we can take one more look at it here. So there's Dyer, there goes Coleman in the 9, right there in the back, getting hit. That was the 25 of Smith. Wow.
Another one of your playoff contenders getting involved with the 25 of Smith, as that's going to put a couple of our fast cars here out of contention. That 9 car of Evan Coleman, you know, he was coming up strong through the field, and you know, you saw Matt Dyer work his way through the field multiple times throughout the course of this race so far. So as we go through this 181 laps, we see more and more drivers in the playoffs struggling to have success here, as it only looks like maybe half of our point contenders, if not less, are actually still in contention for this race tonight.
So we'll see how it goes here on in for the rest of this race. And update up front, Bronson Stafford in the number 61 has gotten around Shane Tiernan. Not sure when this happened, but Bronson Stafford, Eric Stamp, I believe they may have pitted while we were looking at the caution or looking at the replay, and the top 4 stayed out. So now we got some different strategies here, as Shane Tiernan has fallen back to 5th in the number 38. So while we were looking at those replays, the top 5 came in, and here we are. Or the rest of the field, with the exception of the top 4, came in. So Bronson Stafford now leading, Eric Stamp 2nd, Gretorix and Grant now make up the top 4.
Bronson Stafford going to be the only car, I believe, out of the entire top 10 to not come down there, as he's going to try to roll the dice here with about under 70 to go. Is he's going to try to see if maybe this will give him a little bit of a gap over his teammate, because you know the 38 car is going to be coming strong, especially if he just went in and got some fresh rubber.
Jacob Hope's gone behind the wall in the number 22. So now the strategy game begins. Bronson Stafford in the lead. Eric jumps 2nd, or Eric Stamp 2nd, excuse me. But 2 playoff drivers up there. Stamp, a lot of damage on the right side after hitting the wall earlier. Up in 2nd right now. Then you got Gretorix and Grant up there. So now this has changed the entire complexion of this race, because your dominant drivers so far, Shane Tiernan in the number 38, back in 5th after the pit stops.
Now this is going to be a very interesting restart, because keep in mind that 53 of Eric Stamp, he was just starting to struggle on that last green flag run we had. He started in the same spot, or actually a row behind where he's going to be restarting here. He restarted 4th, and he fell way back, and he came in on that pit stop there, as he's back up front now. So keep an eye on him, as if he's still struggling a little bit, that may open the door for that Chevrolet of Austin Gretorix to be able to do something here. here. We saw that number 13 Cobra Motorsports car be able to get to the back of that 61 and actually challenge him for that second position throughout the course of the race. And now without that 38 up front, do you think we're going to be able to see more opportunities for maybe a third lead change here tonight?
We will see, because now you're going to have the strongest car in the race, Shane Tyrion, trying to make his way through the field. But we have seen some great runs from Austin Gretorix in the 13. However, he's going to be stuck behind the 53 of Stamp, who's not going to be in control of the restart. That belongs to the 61 of Stafford. So can Jacob Grant capitalize with that? We'll see.
Don't count out that 19 car of Tyler Stooksbury, who's restarting in that third row outside. He's going to be right behind that 13 machine, or I'm sorry, right behind that 5 machine of Jacob Grant. So really strong cars on the outside line, really strong cars on the inside line. I think we're set up for some really good racing here, as the iRacing.com official pace truck getting ready to pull off the track here in turns 3 and 4. That's going to hand the field over to the 61 G Fuel Toyota Camry of Bronson Stafford. He's going to get on the loud pedal. It's going to be a great jump by the 5 car, as now Jacob Grant going to take over that second position, as he's going to have Stamp cleared almost, but now Stamp trying to battle back on the inside for that second position as we roll through turns 1 and 2 and come down the back straightaway. Everybody's starting to work for some position here, as we got a couple of cars, as some slight contact they're going to be made between Tyler Stooksbury and the 13, and we got cars stacking up, and the caution's going to come out once again.
And caution is out there, still slipping and sliding back there, as several drivers involved in this one, including your top scored Chevy, Austin Gretorix, who is up in the top 5. Swag replay on screen as we go off into turn number 3. Oh, Gretorix has slid up into Stooksbury and nowhere for the 27 of DeWeese to go. He gets hit from behind by the 6 of Rodriguez, and that's 2 more playoff drivers who have problems.
Yeah, as it looks like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the only couple of drivers that we're going to collect, as we got 3 drivers in total in this accident back here. It's going to be the 27 of Braxton DeWeese, and also the 13 of Austin Gretorix, and the 6 car of Matthew Rodriguez. So, you know, the 19 car of Tyler Stooksbury able to squeak by. He may have a little bit of cosmetic damage, but he's still running in the top 5. So that really hurt Austin Gretorix in our only Chevy Camaro, as he's going to drop all the way back to the final car on the lead lap in 16th position.
That's going to be very big here moving forward, as we're in the closing stages. About 63 laps to go or so here in this one at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and Shane Tyrion will be in 4th. And remember, just like we talked about right before that restart, Jacob Grant was able to stick with Bronson Stafford and get up from 4th to 2nd. Now, Shane Tyrion, who's been the strongest driver in the field thus far, has a chance to do exactly that, as he's going to restart behind his teammate Bronson Stafford. So, with that said, can Tyrion get around both Stamp and Grant on this restart?
It's going to be very interesting, because, you know, keep an eye on who's in 4th now. The 38 of Thiernan, he's back up to the front here. So now we've got another fast car in the very front of this field. So we're going to have a very good race here, as we've got about 62 laps to go. And, you know, be prepared for everybody to start getting a little more risky, you know, trying to throw things that they probably wouldn't have thrown about 75, 80 laps ago. Things are going to get heated up front here, as these G Fuel cars are starting to make their way towards the front, and, you know, they're bringing a lot of fast guys with them. I'm going to keep my eye on that 19 of Tyler Stooksbury, just to see if there's any maybe tire rub from that little bit of damage that happened that may affect his car through the long run. But as of right now, it seems that this race is going to be an all G Fuel car show, as the Toyota Camrys for G Fuel has just been absolutely knockout dominant today throughout the course of the entire race.
It's your Sky and Ground Motorsports teammates of Bronson Safford and Shane Tyrion. The rest of the team has been having kind of an up and down day. Calvin Gretorix and Austin Gretorix, we talked about what just happened with them. Matt Dyer had an up and down day, and he went for a wild ride. And then there's Tom Bourne, who also has been up and down today. A lot of damage on the number 54, but he is in 10th right now. They're all under the same banner here on the team Discord, and Tom Bourne has had definitely a roller coaster day in the number 54. He has gotten back up with the help of the Lucky Dog. Saw a couple of cars on pit road, cars with damage. Packard, Smith, Coleman, and a couple others on pit road right now. So drivers coming in to try to get as much damage repaired as they can before continuing on here under this next restart.
Absolutely. You're going to want to get as much damage as you can now, because we just had a very long green flag run, and if we have another long green flag run like that and you don't have your stuff to the tip top of shape, you may end up getting caught in the middle of a green flag pit cycle and not be able to make those repairs or adjustments that you want to make to your car for the final stretch of this race. You may end up catching the short end of the stick on that one and not being able to go through with the full pit strategy that you had originally in place, just due to a little bit of damage.
So we'll definitely see what happens. And the question is, we still have 60 laps to go at the stripe this time. There's still plenty of time for something to happen to these drivers who so far have been able to stay out of trouble. And with the way this race has been going, your guys like Stafford, Tyrion, and now Jacob Grant, who's been slipping and sliding all day, does that thought creep in your head more and more and more?
Oh, you definitely know it has to. I think at this point, a lot of drivers have pretty much found their rhythm. They've gotten used to the throttle control that's going to be needed to get out of these corners here and still maintain the momentum that you do coming out of the corners here. Again, I really think, the best drivers that have been able to keep their momentum up throughout the course of the race so far has been those Toyota Camry G Fuel. But don't count out that 5 car of Grant, as he's going to line up to the inside in the position number 2 on this restart. He's had an up and down night, but he's had a really strong Ford Mustang throughout the course of this race. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do anything on this restart, as the lights are going to be out on the pace truck, and we're going to go green flag racing this time out of 4.
Coming to a green flag, back underway. Can Tyrion match what Grant was able to do? Grant's going to try to come up the track and prevent him from doing that. He will. Nice move by Jacob Grant to move up to the outside lane after the line to make it work. But look at Tyrion with the crossover to get around, stamp now for 3rd, and try to get back at the number 5 of Grant.
As we roll through turns number 3 and 4, the iRacing.com pace car going to pull in. That's going to hand the field back over to the 61 of Bronson Stafford. He's going to take off. The 38 is going to get a good jump, but not as good as one as he had hoped, as the 5 is going to be able to clear him. And now the 53 going to send her in there bonsai style, as he's going to get clear. But now look at this move by Tiernan, as he's going to throw it down to the bottom now, almost like a counter to a slide job, and he's going to take over that 3rd spot. So now your G Fuel cars run 1st and 3rd, and I'm telling you, Tiernan looks like he's eyeing up Grant for that 2nd spot.
But Tiernan got passed by Stokesbury in the number 19. He went a little bit too much on the full send there, and that cost him. Tiernan with his first mistake of the race right there, trying to get the 2nd spot, threw it in just a little too deep, and Stokesbury was right there to capitalize. Bronson Stafford loves seeing that, because now he's able to focus purely on what's going on out the windshield. Spoiler alert, not much. He's able to drive his race. Uh-oh, there is something going on in front of him. Lap traffic having connection issues. Believe it's the 6 of Rodriguez. Yes, it is, but he is going to make it down the pit road, as Stafford will pull on the pit road now. Stafford is going to get around and lead the lap as Rodriguez comes in. We got a caution.
Just before that caution came out, Shane Tiernan got a little bit loose and gave up that 3rd place spot to Tyler Stokesbury. As I'm looking around, and I don't really see what brought out the caution here.
Our producer looking for it in the swag replay, hearing Brockton Packard may have been involved. Yep, he's sliding right there as Browning gets by in the number 12. And ooh, separate incident there. Was that Tom Bourne in the 54 going around there? Barney the flagman getting himself a workout tonight. Wonder how long it's going to be before he has to switch arms on the flag stand there. Let's take another look at it here. as that was kind of in progress. There you see Packard going sideways, but then up front, as Packard hits the wall, you see Tom Bourne right there. I believe that's him. Yes, it is. That's the 54 of Bourne going for a ride. So definitely tough break for Tom Bourne. Not what he wanted to start the playoffs. This has been such an up and down day for our playoff drivers here in this one. Everybody's coming to pit road here, Brett.
Yeah, everybody going to come down, and the question is if they come down now, are we going to be able to make it, barring a green flag run all the way to this checkered flag now? Is fuel and tire strategy going to come into play? As you see a couple of cars there staying out, as I'm not sure if that's going to put anybody back on the lead lap, as I'm pretty sure all of those cars that just stayed out of pit are a lap down trying to get their lap back. So I do believe the 13 of Austin Gretorix and the 23 of Tanner Johnson are going to come back on the lead lap. I'm not 100% sure, as huge development coming off of pit road. The 5 car of Jacob Grant going to come out, I believe, in the lead, and the 19 car of Tyler Stooksbury going to come out in second. So the G Fuel car is having a little bit of a hiccup there on pit road.
They may have taken 2 tires. That's confirmed. 2 tires for the 5 of Grant, and hearing the 27 of DeWeese also taking 2 tires to get some track position. So now we're really starting to see the strategy game come out here now, Brett, as some 2 tire pit stops begin to enter the fray here.
Not only are you battling with 2 brand new cars in front of you, but if you're the G Fuel cars, you know your teammates, if not as good as you, he's very, very close. Do you start racing your teammate a little bit harder and let these front 2 cars get away from you here? Is this what we're going to see between Brunson and Tiernan? Or are we going to be able to see Tyler Stooksbury, who's been having a really good run over the last maybe 30, 40 laps? He's been really solid, really smooth. He's come through the field like it's his job, pretty much. I mean, he's just made pretty quick work coming from the back to the front, and he's going to be starting outside Jacob Grant. Now, Jacob Grant has been having a little bit of an issue, but it's going to be an interesting battle here. I think Stooksbury may have the restart that he's looking for here towards the end of this race.
Alex Walter up in front of them, elected to stay out to take the wave around. He will be 9 laps down once this is all complete in number 63. He's 10 laps down after his adventure of a day. So all new development here with the way this has gone here with the 2 tire pit stops here for Grant and DeWeese. DeWeese jumped up about 10 spots. He was around 13th or so when they came down pit road. He has moved up to 4th. Great job by Braxton DeWeese there on the strategy call to get himself back up. And now your teammates, your Skyground Motorsports teammates, Bronson Stafford and Shane Thierry, and now they've got work to do. They're going to be starting 3rd and 5th on this restart. So now they got to work their way through traffic together for the first time.
But the interesting thing about that is I do believe we may see Jacob Grant pick the outside lane. So if that is the case, that's going to put them on the outside. So lucky for them, they are going to sync up in line with the leader. So they will have the ability, if they're able to time it correctly, to get that leader's jump on those 2 outside positions. So they may be able to pick a couple up here, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens here with Stooksbury and DeWeese in the mix as well.
Definitely going to be interesting. Looks like they are stacking up 2 by 2. Grant did take the outside, so it'll be Grant outside with control, then Stooksbury, Stafford, DeWeese, Thierry in your top 5. Trenton Jump, he's still hanging around that top 5 right now, Brett, so nice job for Jump to keep it going, all things considered, after having to go off and on pit road a couple times under caution for damage repair early in this one. He's had a nice recovery as well, but I gotta say, Jacob Grant on 2 tires, gutsy call, considering he's been having some problems on corner exit. But I like the call, but we'll see what happens.
He's going to roll the dice here in the opening round of the playoffs. Like I said, Tyler Stooksbury going to line up to the inside of him, and Stooksbury's been really tough. Are we going to be able to see Stooksbury get a good jump here on this field and be able to give him a challenge going into 1 and 2? As the iRacing.com official pace truck going to pull off and down into the pit lane, the green flag is going to come out. The 5 car is going to take off, but he didn't really leave the field probably like he was hoping, as he's only opened up about a car length lead. The 19 car going to throw her down into the deep side. He's going to have a good run through the center of the corner. He's not going to be able to get a good run. Never mind. Yes, he is. As he just slingshot out of the cannon. The 19 car Stooksbury looking to the inside of the 5 car of Grant for the lead, as they're going to go into the corner 3 and 4 side by side. A good run again through the middle of the apex by Stooksbury, as he's going to have the 5 of Grant clear coming down the front straightaway, and he's going to lead lap number 132.
Stooksbury gets the lead in the number 19, just under 50 to go here in this one at New Hampshire. Stooksbury, Grant, Stafford, Deweese, your top 4, but Tyrion under pressure here for Deweese, but Tyrion has to back out of it. This allows Trenton Jump to get a run, as Jump's going to now look at the high rent district to try to get around the 38 of Tyrion.
As it looks like the G Fuel cars are still going to run 3rd and 5th. Not much ground going to be able to be had on this initial restart here, as now Grant going to be able to get to the back bumper of your leader through 1 and 2, but Stooksbury going to be able to have that better run coming through 3 and 4. And if you're that 19 car, this is exactly what you want to see. You want to have that little bit of a gap open up, and then you want to see that 3rd place car peek that nose down to the inside, because as soon as Bronson and Stafford does that puts a little bit more pressure on them to run a little more conservative, and that's going to allow that 19 to stretch that gap out just a little bit more per lap.
Remember, Stooksbury fell back to 20th early in this race after getting some damage in a slide. We missed it here on LSR TV because we were watching another one, but Stooksbury has quietly worked his way back up to the lead in the number 19, has some damage still on the rear of that car, right on the trunk, but he is doing a nice job gathering it back up, quietly making his way up. We go on board with him now.
Grant going to go around right in front of the field.
Yes, he is. Jacob Grant. The problem strike again. We go under a swag yellow flag once again. Take a look at the swag replay. Brett, you saw it.
Jacob Grant, it looks like he was just going to get a little bit loose coming out of the corner, as I saw him spinning. Not sure exactly if he just got on the throttle a little too soon, but you see him come through 3 and 4, and he just gets up a good run on the 61 car, and then he just loses the handling of her, and he's just going to loop her right in front of the field. Good job there of him getting on the brakes and holding that car down to the inside lane, and everybody getting around him on the outside.
Scary moment there for Shane Tyrion as well, who's led the most laps here in this race. He barely squeaked through that in the number 38, but that's going to move him back into 3rd position here, as some drivers coming down pit road deep in the field, but most of our leaders staying out for now. Stooksbury leading the way now. Bronson Stafford back up into 2nd with Tyrion 3rd. Deweese 4th. Trenton Jump now rounding out your 5. Lucky Dog coming up on the outside. It'll be Austin Gretorix in the Chevy, so get Chevy back on the lead lap here. Gretorix had such a strong run going in that number 13 car, but got a significant amount of damage on that number 13. We'll see how he's able to go for the rest of the day.
Tyler Stooksbury able to hold off that lead for a very good length there for that last little bit of green flag run that we had. However, now it's going to be the hardest restart for him that he's probably ever had throughout the course of this race tonight, as he's going to have both G Fuel cars lined up directly behind him, one to his outside and one directly behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to get that jump, and also it's going to be interesting to see, with only a handful of laps left counting down, if these G Fuel cars are going to work together or if they're going to try to race it out.
Closing stages here at LSR TV under caution as we get set to restack the field again. We'll bring you to the finish when we come back. You're watching the opening round of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Back here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing, going to be 41 laps to go when we take the green flag. Stooksbury in control. He's going to elect to take the outside here, Brett, as we get set. Bronson Stafford and Shane Tyrion lined up alongside each other on the inside line with Braxton DeWeese up there as well. So definitely going to be interesting to see how it goes from here.
Absolutely is. I think it was very smart of the 19 to choose the outside lane here. That puts one of the teammates behind him and one of the teammates to the inside of him. But look who it also puts right behind him is that number 27 car of Braxton DeWeese, who's been strong all day. I wonder if the 27 and the 19 may possibly work together here, as the iRacing.com pace truck going to pull off the infield, and that's going to put the hands in the field of the 19 car of Tyler Stooksbury. The green is out. He's going to get a great jump going into 1 and 2 as the 61 is going to come up and clear the 27's nose. He's going to regain that second spot, but keep an eye on that 38 as he's going to go down to the inside trying to regain that third spot as we're going to roll down the back straightaway here. Stooksbury still your leader. Stafford in second, as now Thiernan going to try to take a look to the inside. He's not going to have the run that he needs coming off the apexes. They're still side by side coming down the front straightaway. DeWeese able to hold on strong on that outside line.
Nice run for DeWeese on the outside line. Meanwhile, up front, Stafford peeking to the inside of Stooksbury for the race lead. Could we see our first pass for the lead under green here today as Tyrion's able to clear for third? We have a battle for the lead. This could be our first green flag lead change of the day.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese going to fall back now to about the 5th spot. He got a little loose there coming off the corner, but up front, Bronson Stafford going to have a great run coming out of turn number 4. He's going to be able to get to Stooksbury's back bumper. Stooksbury going to drive it down deep into turn 1 and 2 as Thiernan had to get on the brakes to avoid running into the back of his teammate. And now Stafford going to have a great run to the inside coming down the back straightaway. He's going to peek his nose. He's not going to be able to clear him down the back straightaway, but he's going to throw her in deep to that corner. He's going to ride the momentum through the apex as Stooksbury trying to ride that corner panel and keep in front, but it's not going to happen as he's going to have him clear. But now the 38 of Thiernan looking to capitalize for that second position.
Stafford gets the lead. Now Tyrion trying to follow suit. He throws it into the deep end of the pool on the inside of turn number 1. Stafford not able to get away though. They both gained on Stafford in turn 1 that time. Side by side for second. Stafford trying to pull away. He's got just a hair of damage on the back of that number 61 car. Tyrion able to clear for second. Now here comes Trenton Jump as well.
Bronson Stafford looking like a sitting duck as he's got his rear bumper full of his teammate, the 38 of Shane Tiernan, trying to regain that lead from his dominating performance throughout the course of this race. As just as he takes a look to the inside, the caution flag is going to fly one more time.
Caution out once again. Hearing it's Tom Bourne in the number 54. That's put us under this most recent swag yellow flag. Taking a look at the swag replay. Ooh, Dylan Browning in the number 12. Kind of just came up into him there. See if we can take another look at it. You see there lots of room between Browning and Bourne, and I think Browning thought he had enough room to get in there behind Bourne, and Bourne just wasn't quite clear.
Yeah, just a little tap on that left rear quarter panel, and that's all it takes to send these cars around. You know, we said aerodynamics not really playing as much of a factor as far as speed, but it really does take advantage when it comes to handling. You know, you get a little bit of contact and, you know, get them rear tires to break free, and that's all she wrote. You're going for a ride. That's pretty much all it took there. Not much contact, just a slight little bump, just enough to upset the back end of the car and send them around.
Pit stops going on here at New Hampshire.
Interesting call by the 61 of Bronson Stafford. He's gonna stay out. I believe everybody else came in.
Stafford staying out, rest of the field coming in. And now, here's another question for you, Brad, as we go down. Does anyone take 2 tires here?
As of right now, the right sides are being jacked up on the 38 of Tiernan, as I don't see the left side. Oh, the left side's going to come up now, so Tiernan going to take 4 tires. So Bronson, who's out front on old tires, Tiernan's going to be on 4 fresh ones. I'm pretty sure a couple of other drivers going to be on 4 fresh as well, as they were right on his tail coming out of the pit lane. So Bronson Stafford pretty much looking like he's going to be a sitting duck on this restart with them old tires, and all it takes is just one little slip up of being able to break them tires loose and just skating a little bit that may give Tiernan the opportunity to take the lead back.
All right, this is going to be interesting. Teammates on different strategies here for the end. A couple cars electing to stay out to take the wave around. Actually, no. Johnson tried to stay out to take the wave around, did not work out because Stafford stayed out, so he's not going to be able to catch the wave around in the number 23. No cars, 1 lap down. The first car being scored not on the lead lap is Alex Walter, 9 laps down in the number 63. He's had a roller coaster day.
Yeah, a lot of drivers having ups and downs here, but I think the biggest group of drivers that are having a lot of unsatisfied trips to New Hampshire this weekend is a couple of our, actually a majority of our playoff drivers, as I'm not sure exactly how many playoff drivers we have left in this field, as I'm going to take a quick look down the field and see exactly how many we've got left.
A lot of playoff drivers having issues throughout the course of the day. Still a couple up in the top 10, but it has not been a good day for our playoff contenders, especially that big wreck right around the halfway point.
9 out of our original 12 contenders still on the track right now. A lot of them with heavy damage, so they're just trying to salvage a decent points run from the rest of this race and try to lessen that blow a little bit as far as points gap as to what they would have had if they had not been able to finish this race at all. So I think a lot of points maneuvering going on here between some of these damaged playoff contending cars, but right now I think the class of the field is up there in the top 5, as you're going to see the 5 car of Jacob Grant back up inside the top 5, so he's looking to try to regain a little bit of redemption from spinning in front of the field on that last little go around we had.
And I apologize. I thought Tanner Johnson had tried to take the wave around. He was actually on the lead lap. He stayed out. He is going to restart in second position here. First car on the inside line. So Shane Tyrion might be in trouble here with the damaged number 23 of Johnson up in front of him. This could be what Jacob Grant needs to try to skid up there and get back up into second.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And take a look who's riding in the 5th place position, the 19 car of Tyler Stooksbury. He didn't get a good run coming off of pit lane. He gave up a couple of spots, I do believe, with cars staying out. Not sure if he took 2 tires or 4 and got a little bit of damage repaired, but Tyler Stooksbury going to have a little bit of extra work on his hands to try to get back in front of both of those G Fuel cars up front.
Stokesbury going to have his work cut out for him, has led laps today. I'm also curious on the 46 of Trenton Jump. He's been having a roller coaster ride here today in the 46. He will restart 6th. He got Braxton DeWeese and Eric Stamp, 2 playoff drivers, 7th and 8th, getting set to come to a green flag here. Shootout time here at New Hampshire. Going to be 31 laps to go when we go green.
31 laps to go at the drop of the green flag. Is your iRacing.com official pace car going to lead the field through turns 3 and 4? They're going to come now out of turn number 4, and the pace car going to take that dive off into the pit lane. That's going to put the hands in the leader. That's going to be the 61 of Bronson Stafford. As the green is out, he gets a great jump, and so does the 23 of Tanner Johnson, as he's going to have that position for second clear. Now put the 23 up to the second spot, as the 5 car now going to challenge on the outside. Huge run for him as he gets shot out of a cannon. He's going to have him cleared and then some by about a car length, as the 5 car now looking very, very strong in the last 31 laps of this race. I wonder if he's going to be able to track down Bronson Stafford, as he's almost to his back bumper now with about 30 laps to go.
Thought that might happen there, Brett, as he was able to get around him on the outside. Tyrion has now cleared Johnson for third, so Shane Tyrion trying to get up there as well. Jacob Grant having a spectacular race. Could he play spoiler here in this opening round playoff race? He's not a playoff driver in the number 5. Stafford and Tyrion are, and Tyrion to the inside now of the number 5 of Grant. He's throwing it in there on the bottom. Off of turn number 4, Stafford trying to pull away, but Tyrion right there in the battle for second with Grant. Stafford loves seeing this because this is allowing him to just run his line. And as I say, a great job there on the bottom by Tyrion on the bottom.
As the last time by, your leader Bronson Stafford ran a 30.227, Jacob Grant ran a 30.425, and Shane Tyrion ran a 30.048. So Shane Tyrion very much faster than both cars in front of him, as he's going to have that second spot clear, and now he's going to come after his teammate. But still, don't count out that 46 car of Trenton Jump, as he is right there on the bumper of the 5 car, taking a look to the inside of him through 1 and 2. He's going to have a good run coming off the corner. He's going to have him clear, and now the 46 car of Jump taking into the top 3, is you're going to have a side-by-side battle for the lead between teammates. Tiernan and Stafford going to be neck and neck coming off the turn 4. Still going to be Stafford at the line, but the more these cars battle side by side, the more that's letting Jump and Grant and Stooksbury reel them in. So these guys up front, even though they're teammates and they're racing for playoffs, they got to be smart about this. You know, don't take yourselves out racing for the win, because you got a lot of fast cars coming behind you, as now the 46 going to be able to get to the back bumper of Tiernan coming through 3 and 4.
Shane Tyrion now gets back to the lead in the number 38 Jump to the inside of Stafford for second. How much did Bronson Stafford use up in that number 61 car? Remember, he was on older tires, so how much more did he use up there? The strategy might not go the way he wanted it to here, as Tyrion beginning to pull away. Jump in second, side by side for fourth between Grant and Stooksbury, as that's the first side-by-side battle. Single file throughout the rest of the field, as Grant able to clear Stooksbury for now. We'll see how it goes from here, as Jump peeks inside of Stafford for second now.
Jump set that corner up very well through 3 and 4. He backed off a little bit on entry and then was able to get into the throttle a little bit earlier, which allowed that great run. And now he's set up on the inside quarter panel for the second place position with Stafford, as they're going to come through 3 and 4 now on the entry of 3, as he's going to fall back a little bit. Just as I said the last lap, he's going to get a great run coming out, as he's going to almost collect the back bumper. He had to back out of it there a little bit. Trenton Jump showing some speed, as the last time by he was at a 30.726, and Bronson Stafford running a 30.701, so almost identical lap times between second and third. And don't forget, you also have that battle for fourth shaping up behind them as well, between the 19 of Tyler Stooksbury and the 27 of Braxton Deweese.
Have to wonder what those fresh tires are going to mean for Trenton Jump if he can get around Bronson Stafford here. But Tyrion, on fresher tires as well, is able to pull away more and more every lap that these guys battle. Coming to 20 or so to go here. Closing stages of this one, there will be 22 to go at the line for Shane Tyrion. 23 laps left on the board right now, and Tyrion pulling away. One car up ahead of him a little bit. It's Matthew Rodriguez, who's pulling back into the pits once again into number 6. So Tyrion, no worries with lap traffic for now, as Jump finally to the inside of Stafford, and he's going to get the spot this time by. Can he clear him into turn number 1? Stafford fights back.
Trenton Jump had the spot at the line, but Stafford going to be able to fight back on the outside, as now it's going to be all Jump with a good run on the inside of 1 and 2, as he's not going to be able to have him clear coming down the back straightaway. And the more they battle, the more it's allowing Tiernan to outstretch that lead. He's up to 1.7 seconds now and growing, as Jump still trying to wrestle with Stafford for that second spot. And here comes Tyler Stooksbury entering his nose into the mix. We're about to have a 3-car battle for second, as we only have about 21 laps left to go here.
Behind them, Braxton Deweese to the inside now. Jacob Grant in the number 5. That's for 5th right now. Deweese, playoff driver. Grant not trying to get up there, and he's trying to get up into the top 5 now. Is Deweese bringing Eric Stamp with him? Stamp has had a nice job as well in the number 53 with all the damage he's got on the right side. As you see right here, the battle is on all the way back there. There you saw Grant. There's Tyrion, your leader, and then there's the field behind him, 2nd through about 8th right there on screen.
Tyrion able to set the gap at about 2.2 seconds as he continues to just open up the field here and just completely dominate how he has the entire night. As now he rolls through 3 and 4. Going to see if the gap continues to grow here as Trenton Jump has broken away from that 3rd and 4th place position, as he's going to try to work it down and try to eat up a little bit of this gap here as the gap continue to grow at about a rate of 0.2 per lap. So Tiernan on them new tires is putting some easy work to this field here as he's pulling away at a pretty extensive rate.
Up 2.5 seconds just about on Trenton Jump, and is the fastest car on the track is that number 38 of Tiernan. Trying to pull away here. We're inside 20 to go. Make it 18 to go for Shane Tyrion in the number 38. 0.3 of a second faster that last time by.
Tiernan putting on an absolute clinic here in Loudon, New Hampshire this evening. I'm not sure exactly how many laps he has led out of this 181, but I know it's been the majority of what we've ran. As a caution now going to come out on lap 163, and that could be a game changer for a couple of pit strategies, as I'm almost certain we'll see Bronson Stafford come down and get some fresh rubber, which may put him in contention to possibly put himself back into a winning predicament here, as he will have newer tires than Tiernan if they stay out, barring that they just pit.
So definitely coming up here, swag replay on screen to see what put us under the swag yellow flag. That's Evan Coleman in the number 9 you see, and much like we've seen all day, it just loops it off the corner and noses into the inside wall. We go yellow. So now the question remains. I'm with you. I'm expecting Bronson Stafford. Well, question asked, question answered. Everybody's coming to pit road because they knew that they would be in trouble with Stafford coming in. So everybody's on pit road now. And Brett, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is it. This is the money stop.
Yes, this here is going to be the money stop. This is going to be make or break. This is probably the biggest pit stop for all of these drivers throughout the course of the race. Is you're going to see Tiernan get into the box, and here comes Bronson Stafford in as well. Right side tires going up on Bronson as the right side comes down on Tiernan. Tiernan only taking 2 tires as he's going to be out already. Bronson's going to take 4 as here comes Trenton Jump out second. It looks like it's going to be Stewksbury in third.
So as they come out, Tyrion, Jump, Stewksbury, same order here at the caution. So shootout time here at New Hampshire. Braxton Deweese actually got beat off the track or pit road by Stafford, so I had to give him that spot back. So resetting the field for what will be maybe not the final restart, but that's it. That's the final pit stop. You've got what you got from here on out.
Yeah, everybody should be able to make it on fuel and tires from here on out. I believe we'll only have about 15 laps to go from here, as not sure exactly how many laps we'll have to go at the green, but I'm telling you what, we are getting set up for probably one of the most exciting finishes that we will probably see tonight, because Trenton Jump has been an absolute rocket ship towards the second half of this race, and now that he's going to be starting right up next to Tiernan. Tiernan came in and got 2 tires. I'm pretty sure Trenton Jump took 4 because he had a pit stall to the back of the lineup. So, and he almost came out right behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see who took what, and exactly what pit stop strategy is going to take home the checkered flag here tonight.
Who is going to get the win, and will we see someone punch their way into the playoffs for the first time, or for the round of 8 in the Here in the first round of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs. 12 drivers in the playoffs. We're only taking 8 in 3 races, and it has been an up and down one so far. Here, and Shane Tyrion, the strongest car in the number 38, has been the dominant car all day, but Trenton Jump has had the up and down day thus far, is back in the mix now in that number 46. He's looking to try to steal it.
Not only that, but keep in mind also that third place contender, the 19 of Tyler Stooksbury, he's had a very good day. He started 6th. He's currently running 3rd. He also has had to come from the back a time or two. He has also led laps in this race, so don't count him out. Also, keep an eye on that 5 car of Jacob Grant as well. He's come on very strong towards the last 30 laps of this race here. So we've got, top 3 rows, the top 6 cars, either one of them could, come away with a win here. It's just a matter of, what pit strategy plays key, as it's going to be very, very, very intense the last couple of laps here at Loudon.
Tyrion is leading the way. Jacob Grant on the outside. We've seen Grant in this exact position on restarts twice here tonight, Brett. Both times he's been able to leapfrog around on the outside and get the second spot. But we will see what happens on this one. Gonna be 12 laps to go when we go green.
As the lights are out on the iRacing.com official pace truck, so we are going to go back green flag racing on lap 169. That should put us around 11, somewhere between 11 and 13 laps to go. So not really much time to make a move. So, if you're one of them drivers in the top 6, this is go time. If you do get a quick caution here, you'll only have a couple of laps left, so don't be surprised to see a couple of these guys make some risky maneuvers to try to wrestle away that lead from the 38 of Tiernan.
So Tyrion has been the strongest car all day, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. Restart coming up. Keep your eyes on Grant in the 5. Does he do it again? Yes, he does. He gets the nice start on the outside of Grant. He's going to try to clear him into turn number 2. Jump comes fighting back on the inside. Meanwhile, all Tyrion up front. But Jacob Grant gets him off of turn 2. Grant to second.
Jacob Grant with a great run coming out of turn number 2. You saw the gap close a little bit from what Tiernan was able to open up from that jump. As now the gap going to close just a little bit more through 3 and 4. So keep an eye on that number 5 machine of Grant, as he's going to get a little bit loose coming out of turn 4. That's the one thing that's going to kill him out of this last couple of laps, is that throttle control ability. You saw him loop it on his own, as now he's going to get a courtesy shot in the rear from Trenton Jump, who's trying to push him down the back straightaway, as he's in a heated battle with the 19 of Stooksbury as we come into turn 3 and 4, as we're going to be almost 3 wide, as Trenton Jump going to thread the needle. He's going to make slight contact with Grant. That's going to stack up the field. We're 3 wide behind them. Cars making huge contact, and we got cars
Bronson
going
Stafford's
around.
in it. Caution's out. Bronson Stafford is involved in the 61. Braxton Deweese involved. Caleb Smith got a piece of it. Several playoff contenders involved in this one.
Another playoff contender, somebody that we would have thought was going to be able to come back through the field and have a good shot at contending for the win. The 61 of Bronson Stafford, who almost looked like he had the pit strategy timed up perfect, as we're going to have the swag replay up for you here right now. Is you just see a bunch of cars getting loose. They stack up coming out of turns 3 and 4, and you got 3 cars 3 wide and just a little bit of real estate that just ran out a little too soon.
Jacob Grant involved. There you see Caleb Smith, Braxton Deweese, Bronson Stafford all involved. Tempers flaring on pit road as well. And Shane Tyrion in the 38 gets away scot-free once again.
That was a huge game changer for the outcome of this race, as again, one of the top dominant cars, the 61 of Bronson Stafford, teammate to the 38 of Tiernan, that G Fuel Toyota Camry. Lady Luck not going to have his luck anymore tonight, as he just got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I wonder if we're going to see anybody come down and possibly take a tire only just to get that slight little bit of advantage coming to the last couple of laps here.
We'll see how it goes from here on. We're inside 10 laps to go, so it's all or nothing now at this point. You got to get going. Lucky Dog will be Evan Coleman in the number 9. He will now be scored 1 lap down in the number 9, but a lot of damage to his car. So Shane Tyrion leading the way, and oh boy, this just changes up the entire complexion of this race. Nobody going on pit road for that strategy call you talked about. A couple of guys coming down just to try to get more damage repaired, but no one taking a gamble. They like what they got from here on.
Now, I'm very interested to see how this restart's going to go. Keep an eye on the 46 of Trenton Jump. He got an amazing run on the leader, Shane Tiernan, coming out of turn 2 on that last restart. He closed about a car length and a half on him just from the apex to turn 2. So I definitely think the 46 car has something that he can compete with that 38 of Tiernan. Just, curious if he's going to have enough time to be able to get by him, as it looks like we may be within 5 to go by the time the green flag comes out.
We'll be right on the cusp of that 5 or 6 to go at the line. Depends on if the lights go off on the pace card this time. So Shane Tyrion, 3 wins on the season here tonight. All 3 wins have come at 1.5 mile tracks. Looking for his first win not on a 1.5 mile, including last week at Texas Motor Speedway. Lights still on the pace car, so there should be 5 laps to go when we get back green.
Tiernan going to have to try to hold off that 46 jump for about 5 more laps, as don't count out that 19 of Stewksbury, as he's going to try to stick his nose into it, as I'm not sure if this league runs the green-white checkers or not, but if they don't, this is within that go mark. If you have another caution come out, that is going to end the race. So keep in mind, the green-white checkered versus ending under caution may take an extreme amount of measure changes into this, complexion of the next couple of laps here.
So shootout time at New Hampshire and a spot in the round of 8. But look who's going to restart in 4th, Brett. Jacob Grant in the number 5 is going to restart in 4th.
Yeah, Jacob Grant was able to get a really good jump the last time and able to hold off that 2nd position, but he's going to have the 46 of jump in front of him this time, so he might not be able to get as good of a jump to get back to 2nd place, but he will have the ability to take that 3rd position back from Stewksbury. And we've seen that if Grant can keep that throttle control under his foot and keep that rear end behind him, he may have one really fast hot rod here come towards the end. He's been really fast lately. He's just got to keep that back end behind him, and he may be able to squeak out an upset here.
So here we go. Lights off on the pace car. Going to be 5 to go here when we go green. Can the number 5 of Jacob Grant pull off one more strong restart on the outside to try to track down Shane Tiernan? 5 to go when we go green.
Your iRacing.com pace car going to lead the field through 3 and 4. It's going to put the field in the hands of Tiernan once more, as your pace truck going to dive down to pit lane, and the 38 car going to get on the jump. The 5 car going to get a really good run, as he's going to be able to challenge jump for that 2nd spot coming into 1 and 2. But again, if you're 2nd and 3rd, are you going to want to battle as much as you can for that position and allow that 38 to jump out front, as you see the gap that the 38 of Tiernan's able to open up just through the course of 1 and 2, just from that little bit of side-by-side racing, as now the 46 going to have a little bit of breakaway speed, and he's able to clear the front bumper of that 19 of Stewksbury. And as we come out of turn number 4, here comes Grant, shot out of a cannon, taking over that 3rd spot in that number 5 machine.
Under pressure from Stewksbury, the battle is for 3rd as Tyrion continues to pull away. About 4 laps to go. Jump is settled into 2nd. Tiernan trying to scoot away as much as he can. Deweese caught the wall in the number 27. Excuse me, it was Gretorix in the 13 that caught the wall on the restart there. Tyrion continues to lead. 3 to go this time for the 38, looking for win number 4 and a spot in the round of 8.
keep an eye on Grant. He's got a very good run foreman on the outside as he's been able to clear the 19 by a car length and a half, and he is hunting down that 46 of Trenton Jump. I'm not sure anybody's going to have anything for Thiernan, barring a late race complete tragedy, as he has just been the car to beat all night long. He's got a huge gap coming through 3 and 4, as it looks like this time at the line the advantage for Tiernan, as we're going to have 2 laps to go, is going to be just a little bit over 1 second. So, you know, he's got a very comfortable lead, barring a little bit of like a looseness condition or something. Tiernan should be able to get the checkered flag here for the opening night of the playoffs. Trenton Jump trying to do everything he can to reel him back in, but out of turn number 4, Tiernan's going to see the white silk in the air. The flagman going to give it to him, as we're going to have 1 lap to go here at Loudon, New Hampshire.
You have an official race, ladies and gentlemen. White flag, 1 to go. Shane Tiernan has heated it up here through the course of the season. Took him a couple races to break through, but once he did, it was red hot, and it looks like G Fuel, the paint scheme, is going for it again as he comes through turns 3 and 4. Charlotte, Homestead, last week at Texas, and as he comes off turn number 4, make it New Hampshire. Lobster dinner for Shane Tiernan. He wins here in the opening round of the Adrenaline iRacing League playoffs. Shane Tiernan is through to the round of 8.
Trenton Jump going to finish up second. Jacob Grant going to come home third. Tyler Stooksbury in the 19 car going to come home fourth. And the 53 of Eric Stamp going to round out your top 5. Austin Gretorick's going to be sixth and the only Chevy to make it into the playoffs. Bronson Stafford going to rally back after that late race caution, and he's going to finish up seventh. Tanner Johnson in the 23 going to finish up 8th. The 12 of Dylan Browning going to be 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be the 54 of Tom Bourne.
Coming home in the 11th spot will be Braxton DeWeese in the number 27. Logan Brecky and Brockton Packard, your final cars on the lead lap. Evan Coleman, Caleb Smith, Alex Walter, Spencer Hardison, Matthew Rodriguez, Matt Dyer, Jacob Hope round out the top 20 with Sardage Man, Robert Kenny, Andy McDowell rounding out the field. But it's all about the man that's burning it down on the front stretch right now. Your first winner of the playoffs and through to the round of 8. Shane Tiernan gets it done. We're going to let him celebrate, and we're going to catch up with our top 3 as we get ready to move on to next week here at the Adrenaline iRacing League. Shane Tiernan is through to the round 2. We'll talk with him in your top 3 when we come back. You're watching the Adrenaline iRacing League on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Clan Wars post-race show brought to you by Clan Wars, gamers hosting gamers worldwide. Proud sponsor of the LSR TV post-race show, and we have caught up with our driver who had quite the adventure here today and brings it home in third, Jacob Grant. And Jacob, you were slipping and sliding all over the place, but man, it seemed like that car worked on the outside.
Yeah, that's the only place I could get my car to actually run around the track. Anytime I got underneath that on that low line, it just wouldn't. I couldn't keep it the throttle in, and I just kept getting loose coming off the corner, as you guys probably seen. I think I'd spun out like 3 or 4 times.
And Jacob, talk about that, the recoveries that you had to make throughout the course of the day, because this started early for you and just kept going. And yet here you were. Every time you ran into trouble, you found yourself back in the mix.
Yeah, that very last one where I got loose when I was up in 3rd, I believe, underneath Bronson, I got loose, spun out, locked him up, and then caution came out, and then I went ahead and pitted and took 4, and then luckily we got another caution like 4 or 5 laps after, so I just went in and took 2 and got back up front. But that was basically my strategy the whole time. It didn't really eat up your tires that much, and so I just took 2 almost every time I went in.
Well, definitely New Hampshire seemed to work for you, but coming up next week for the next race for the Adrenaline iRacing League, it is an entire 180 from the technical New Hampshire Motor Speedway to the wide open run and gun Daytona International Raceway. 50 laps on deck here for this one. You ready for this one next week?
No, I'm not. I'm not that great at road course racing, but it's going to be a fun one. We're going to see what I can do with this Relax Remodeling number 5 Ford Mustang. So,
all right, well, road course coming up next week. 50 laps the distance on that one, but it was a great one for you here tonight. And I know you got some guys you want to thank after the up and down night. So who you got?
I got Relax Remodeling, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We installed doors and windows and stuff. So if you guys ever need anything, if you're in the area, just give us a contact. If you look on my car, you can find email, you can find phone number. So I got them, and then High Five Racing, of course, to thank for allowing me to race for them this season. And thank you guys for broadcasting.
Gets a podium. Third place, Jacob Grant in the number 5. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I believe Brett Rawls has caught up with another guy who had quite the interesting night. He's caught up with second place, Trenton Jump.
Yeah, I'm down here with second place finisher Trenton Jump. Trenton, you also seem to have an up and down night tonight. It looked like you got caught up in a couple of mid-race incidents there, but you had a really strong car towards the end of the race here. You were able to pick up a pretty good run through the exit of the corners, but just didn't seem like you were able to get the drive through the apex that you were looking to be able to chase down Shane.
Yeah, Shane and Bronson were the class of the field the whole race, and honestly, I didn't think I was ever going to figure it out or quit wrecking, but man, what an up and down day, and just glad to be up here for a second place finish.
So we heard a couple of instances there where, throttle control was talked about in the previous interview. How much difference is there at this mile track of New Hampshire with throttle control compared to some of the 1.5-mile tracks that you would see, also compared to, some of the shorter tracks that you see like Martinsville and Bristol?
Well, I mean, compared to Martinsville, they're both flat, but here's the speeds are a lot higher, and there's no banking to keep the tires into the asphalt, so you really just, what I was doing is really just waiting for the straightaways before I pinned it to the floor. And I mean, if any earlier in the night you hit the wrong line or you get down on the flat, it just shoots you sideways, and you just pray that you saved it.
Saw a couple of guys going for a ride here, just getting a little bit loose off the exit of the corner. So pretty happy to see that you were able to, keep that back end behind you and come in second. I'm going to pass the mic back over to you here. Is there anybody that you want to thank to help you get the second place finish here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank JT at Color 2 Designs for painting the car and allowing him to race on my team, and I want to thank you guys for broadcasting this thing. You guys do an awesome job, and we really appreciate everything you do for us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's your second place finisher tonight, the number 46 machine, a Trenton Jump. We're going to turn it back down to Greg down in Victory Lane, who I believe is caught up with Shane Tiernan.
I have Shane Tiernan, the class of the field all day, led far and away the most laps, and it was a great one for you. Win number 4 on the season. First off, congratulations.
Thank you. This was I love this track. This is a fun track. This is my home track. And I said last week when I won that I was going to do whatever it took to win this race, and I did it. It was great. Everyone started to catch on towards the end, but I was still just a little bit better, so I'm glad I got it.
Shane, for the most part, it seemed like you and Bronson Stafford were on the same strategy throughout the course of the race, but near the end, you guys kind of got off sequence a little bit. Was that planned, and you were just like, all right, let's see who's got the winning strategy, or did that kind of just happen?
It just kind of happened. I mean, me and Bronson were the only two that were running that middle groove. I said like halfway through the race to the whole lobby, I was like, you guys got to stop running the top if you want to be fast. It's not all about getting off the corner. It's about going through the corner. And I think Trenton tried it a few times. I saw Jacob do it a few times, and he got loose off of 4s. I don't know if he stopped doing that, but it was the best way around the track if you could do your throttle control. That's what me and Bronson were good at. So, but once we got off sequence, it was kind of hard to get back up front and hold it. But I tried 2 tires there at the end, and I thought I was screwed, but it paid off.
Well, Shane, you've won now on a mile oval to go through 3 wins on mile and a half. And the good news is, with this win, not only are you in the round of 8, you are also safe of any problems with the road course because you are locked in. Does that alleviate any stress moving into the road course next week, or do you still just want to go all out for it?
I'm still gonna try and go all out, but I'm not that good at road courses. I mean, I may be top 5 probably, because Daytona is all right. But honestly, it's probably gonna come between. I don't know who else is really good at road courses here, but I know Austin is gonna be really, really good there. And Nick Massey, who wasn't here this week, he's gonna probably drive the wheels off that thing next week to make up for what he missed this week. So yeah, I'm just gonna race. I'm going to give room to people that need the points. I'm not going to be, that much of a jerk, but I'll do the best I can to just, have some momentum.
Locked into the round of 8. Big one for your sponsors here tonight. I know you got them. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, well, first I want to say happy birthday to my grandfather. He turned 80 today, and I know they're watching there for his birthday, so happy birthday to him. I'll see them this week when I'm finally home for good. And then, of course, the G Fuel. I'm undefeated in this paint scheme, which is great. Evil controllers. I got the Navy colors on. And then, of course, you guys for broadcasting. I love rewatching the broadcasts every week. And then, of course, Adrenaline for putting on the league. It's been a great season. I've been having a lot of fun.
4 wins on the year through to the round of 8. It's Shane Tyrion. Another win. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that's just about going to wrap it up here at New Hampshire. And Brett, just like that, 1 round in the playoffs done, and we are moving on an entirely different form of racing next week, road course at Daytona.
Absolutely. Usually you're accustomed to seeing Watkins Glen being the road course on a Cup Series schedule, but it's going to be very interesting to see not only the newest road course to come to iRacing and the actual NASCAR schedule itself of the Daytona short course, but also the playoff implication that it's going to put on. We had a lot of playoff contenders have a very bad night tonight, so that's just going to force their hand to have that much better of a good run next week at the Daytona road course. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting race next week.
An entirely different form of racing. Shane Tyrion is locked into the playoffs round of 8. For the other 11 drivers, a fresh chance to restart at the wild card that is the Daytona road course. That's coming up next week here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. For Charles Wooten in the production truck and Brett Rawls, my co-announcer, I'm Greg Rentz. Thanks for tuning in tonight here at the virtual New Hampshire International Raceway. We will see you next week here for the Adrenaline iRacing League coming up here from the Daytona road course.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.